is. You're as dumb as they come.
Huh?
I like this one better. All right. Or that one. All right. Well, I think the case is interesting, regardless. You did a show earlier. It seemed like a lot of people were that interested in it. I mean, in terms of, YouTube, they recommend videos to people when they're interested in something. So, you keep talking about the park rangers, Boulder Smokey. How many times are you going to say the same thing? The park rangers are sleeping on this one. The car was parked in something, only parking for 2.5 days. I don't know. They might have seen it. Maybe they didn't see it. Who knows, right? It doesn't matter, though. It wouldn't have made any difference at all. Okay? Because by the time she was reported missing and somebody would have went and gone and looked, she's, either, she did what she did or she's out of there, right? She's not hanging out there. Yeah, it's not like it sat there for a month. Maybe they thought maybe somebody was camping or something. I mean, I don't think they're going to turn it in, I think it's more weird that after she went through the, the park, the whatever you call it, the little station where she got her pass, obviously your license plate is taken, you would think, at that time. Or at least you would think your license plate was taken, and you would then you would think that would be in a system that when she was reported missing, it would have said, "Oh yeah, she checked in over at this park." But apparently, that's probably not what they do. They probably you just pull up, you buy a ticket, and you slap it on your dashboard or something like that, so that I don't know. That's just what it seems like. All right, well, anyways, let's go. We got to go through it again. Because that's how you do it, man. If you go through it multiple times, you start seeing different things. It's weird how there's never cases that are right next to me other than like one or two, and there's, none really so far that are right next to me. Even like the Idaho case is 400 miles. This one's over 1,000. Everyone, just because I'm on the West Coast doesn't make it close. What do you mean? What do you mean you remember that too? What do you mean? I don't think they were saying it was overflow parking. I just thought they said that there is overflow parking. Because what's the overflow parking? It just looks like a regular parking lot. And what is this an overflow to? Doesn't seem like it's... I did see another parking somewhere else. I don't remember where I marked it at this point. I don't know what you mean by that, though. Yeah, good for you. It doesn't matter how close you are. You should go over there, film stuff. It doesn't mean you're associated with the crime, is what I meant, or anything that happened. Yeah, I was sort of thinking, I don't know if you guys thought the same thing, but when we were looking at this picture here, she sort of doesn't seem like she's doing as good as some of the other, the other pictures you see. When she met up with them, I'm not sure what the reasoning was. It out of the blue? Was it, I was kind of thinking she was saying, like, she calls up friends and says goodbye, right? Yeah, I mean, even if they had seen it sooner, it wouldn't have made any difference, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't mean anything. It's like, sure. Could have sat there for 2 days and, I mean, maybe they just thought somebody was camping or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't seem, I don't even know why that's part of the story. See, this is what happens a lot, is like when we cover cases, people get fixated on things like Dylan Mortensen, how long the car was parked. It doesn't matter, okay? What matters is, like, where is she? What is likely what happened? Where might she be? Etc. But it's like when we sit here and talk, there's things that people like to talk about and figure out. It's almost just a sleuth for the sake of sleuthing, when there's really no value whatsoever at all. It doesn't matter that nobody noticed the vehicle parked there for 3 days. It doesn't matter if you believe that they were asleep on the job. It's irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. Okay? That's what I'm saying. I didn't do that. That was somebody else up above. I was reading their comment. Did you read the comment up above? It was a lady who said, I'm not even talking to you either, Haley. I was talking to the person up above who came in here and says, I think the park rangers were sleeping. Her car was parked in a day use only parking. Somebody should have noticed the vehicle still parked there the first night or at dusk. And then it just went on and on and on. Another one, 2.5 days, blah, 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 blah. Hey, thanks, Timothy Cecil. Logic, reason, and common sense. All right. Yeah, what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what parking lot she's parked in, that the Rangers should have seen something or shouldn't have seen something. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, see you later. I write the hooks. I always knew you were a troll by the way you type in here. Okay. It's been obvious for a long time. Every single time you come in here. You thought you were being really sleuthy. Wasn't working for you, though. I can tell you that. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't talking to you, Haley. There was somebody else up there. It was Boulder Smoky. I don't know what the point of that is. Do you guys? I mean, this is what happens a lot. Like, why did Abby and Libby's grandparents let them go walk on the trails? Well, what difference does it make? First of all, it didn't matter that they could walk on the trails, but there's a guy that killed them. That's what's important, right? Anyways, it just gets so frustrating. People think, I'm talking to somebody else and somebody else says something and then somebody else says something, and then I have to sit there and explain, and then everybody thinks, it's just stupid. If they'd kept track. Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered though, That's what I'm trying to tell you. It wouldn't have mattered at all. And by the way, so even if they could have started searching the next morning or something, it didn't happen. So what value does it have talking about it? I guess, I guess this would be something later after you find her or something like that, and then you could start railing on something, but we don't even know what's happened here at this point. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, a search may have started. She was reported missing at 9:30. If she went and took her own life, she's not alive at 9:30 at night. I'll tell you that right now. I just don't think so. Thanks, Alley Cake. Are you still there, Haley? I wasn't talking to you. You seem like you talked about why they didn't find your car sooner. I was just repeating what somebody said above, not me having a thought. Yeah, maybe a ticket, something like that. But then the plate would have been in the system. But like again, see, now we're still talking about, yeah, man, that they should have done that. And it's like, I think we're at the point still where we're just trying to figure out the case, right? I mean, not the blame side. Yeah. Hey, thanks, 6 Kids UK. I don't know. It's always so frustrating in here. Seems like every night it's some other thing. Anyways, I can't even get a reply. So here's the timeline. Let's go through the timeline again. Yeah, so that Sunday on July 5th, she had lunch with friends and her children. And that is this picture right here. So that's the friend and her children. Now, what was the reason for the lunch? Was it just kind of to say goodbye in her mind, but not really? Like she didn't say that to somebody else. Hey, thank you so much, Carolina T. Starting a wave. Look at that. She's starting a wave. Guess we'll see how that goes. I've already pissed people off where they've already left and I haven't really said anything wrong. I'm just trying to, I like to keep the focus on what's important now. I don't know how we can make any claim that, figuring out like why didn't she get a ticket or the ranger see the car there, how that's relevant. At this point. Now, if there's a lawsuit later, like, oh, wow, she fell and hurt herself and, had this guy done something, then, yeah, then all of a sudden it becomes valuable. If she did something to herself, then maybe it isn't. Approximately 3:30 p.m. So 9:30 a.m. she dropped her daughter off at a summer camp in Oceanside. Now, I don't know, what kind of summer camp that is, but, it's a summer camp. She lived right here in this house. Her car is parked in Street View. We've already shown that a bunch of times. And so, there's a camp somewhere over here in Oceanside that she dropped her daughter off at 9:30. Apparently, she arranged for her daughter to be driven home by one of the other parents of one of the other kids later that night and planned on doing that while they were there at that time. You see? So when, it was in that morning that she arranged that. So for me, that's sort of interesting that, like, she goes there and says, hey, can you figure out how to, can you drive my daughter home? I don't know what she told them. I think it'd be interesting to know what the reasoning was that she gave the friends. I don't know. I've always been the same way on every case. I just want to stick to the things that matter. I'm telling you, it's the same people have the same questions in every case, and everybody gets off track, and everybody starts talking about stuff that's completely unrelated to trying to figure out what actually happened to her. It's just the truth. Every single case, man. Koberger, Hey, how come Dylan Mortensen didn't... Okay, Jesus. How come there wasn't any screams? How come there wasn't this, and then this, and this. And it goes on and on and on. And the answer to the question doesn't help anything. It's just... It is what it is, right? Right, and approximately... so that was 9:30 in the morning. She dropped her kid off. He dropped her kid off and then arranged for a ride for her to get a ride home. So that's already sort of like, okay, she knows that she's not going back there that day at least, and wants to make sure her daughter makes it home. Then at 3:30, apparently she goes over to the Hera Resort, which is like a casino. And, currently that's all we're reading on the screen, but it turns out that she went there to spend her point system, rewards points, and you can gamble with the rewards points that she had up, and it's really, you get the reward points by gambling and spending money at their resorts on anything. So that's probably what she was doing. I would think that's probably pretty likely that she was gambling. Well, thanks, Caroline T. But it's also what makes people angry. They think I'm like mad at them or something if I say, hey, what difference does it, and then they get like skulk off and get upset. And it's like, I'm not mad or anything. I'm just telling you that we can spend time and look up why, it just doesn't, I don't know. I wish people didn't care about that kind of stuff. All right, so that at 3:30, she's seen on surveillance footage leaving the casino that she was spending her rewards points at. And then at 4:20 p.m., she actually shows up at the park. And then at 7 o'clock, let's see, I'll go through the other parts after this, the verification information. Then at 7 p.m., she failed to report for her scheduled night shift as an ER nurse at Kaiser San Marcos. And then at approximately 9:30 p.m., reported missing by her husband to Oceanside Police. So you could probably just picture how that worked. She didn't show up to work at 7. They waited maybe till 8:30, 7:38, then called. Then kept trying to get a hold of her. Maybe by like 8:15, 8:30, they were worried enough. Then they called the husband. Then the husband probably tried calling around a little bit. And then when couldn't get any answers, then at 9:30 called the police. Seems pretty obvious. No, that was the last video. That's a different topic. I brought that up on this one too. The lady that she checked in with, Haley, when she drove in? When she drove in, that lady, or a guy or a lady, I don't even know if it's a lady. Somebody checked her in, and I was just wondering if, you would put her license plate in the system, okay? But who I was talking to, on this show was somebody, sort of blaming the ranger for not driving around and noticing the vehicle. So it's totally two different things. They're not the same thing. Hopefully you can see that. And by the way, can you guys communicate in the chat, please? Whenever we get this point in time where you guys start slowing down and you're not chatting, then YouTube starts not sending people over. So it'd be great if you guys were actually interested enough to be communicating. I don't know how to make it more interesting. Because I think it's pretty interesting the way it is. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. All right. Yeah, I still think exactly that. Why wasn't her... I'm just saying, when she drove in, that's a point of contact. You would think that her license was placed in a system, but now that I think about it, she probably just drove in, and I guess that's sort of a similar philosophy I guess. as what I'm bitching about. Like, you know, I guess that doesn't really matter either. It just seems like it would have. Well, her watch is what pinged, right? Her watch is what pinged at the entrance to the park. But I guess that is kind of a similar thing. I don't think it's quite the same. It just seems kind of like that should have been. That's something we know happened. And I don't know what the procedure is, but if they got her license number plate and put it into the system, I would hope that there'd be a system out there that anybody in law enforcement or a state person can type it plate in and go, oh, look, it showed up over here. You would think that. And actually, that's what I thought originally, that's how they determined. But then I realized, wait a minute, that's not how they did it, because they didn't even find her car for 3 days. So anyways, so 9:30 at night, he calls in. And then on Tuesday, July 7th, the next day, so July 6th is the day she went missing, the detectives began investigating. And then on the 8th, police attempted to locate her cell phone through her carrier, but were unable to obtain a location because the phone was either powered off or its battery was dead. But I would think that they would have, you know, her phone pinged somewhere else before it died, right? So that's a reality, that the phone pinged, and that would be an interesting piece of information to know. Oh, okay, her phone stopped connecting to towers on July 6th at 3:47. You know, like right after she leaves the casino, that's when her phone isn't connected to towers anymore. So you can likely assume that at that point her phone either died or was turned off. But it seems more likely that she would have turned it off because she's got to drive for about 45 minutes to get to the park. And most people would just look at your phone and say, I mean, most people look at their phone, okay, within that long amount of time. And so you'd see and go, oh, shit, let me charge it, right? And then you might go, well, maybe she never charged her, Gray, so her phone died. I don't know. And we start looking too long. It seems like it's most likely that she turned her own phone off. Do you guys agree with that? Now, let's do a poll. You don't have to agree. I don't really give a shit. The trolls will always disagree, you know. Let's see. All right, here we go. Here's your poll. I'm going to throw this out here. No, Richard, it can't be that. The phone already died before she got to the park, because it would have pinged at the park had it been turned off when she got there. But hey guys, if you could please help support the channel, I'd really appreciate it. We had a little wave going at the beginning and it just died off the face of the earth. My channel relies on the people watching to help support it, and I would appreciate it. Yeah, well, there were helicopters flying over at the time. See, helicopters right now likely wouldn't do much good. Unless she happened to, something happened to her and she's in the middle of a field. Because her heat signature, likely, if she died, let's say, the first night, her heat signature wouldn't still be anywhere around 3 days later when they finally heard about it. Yeah, looking for buzzards would be good. I think it would still ping out there. I think they have cell. It's not, I don't think it's ludicrously far out of there for having cell coverage. I bet you there's even cell towers out there. Like for sure down in here, right? So it's not, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a cell tower up here somewhere. Well, hell, there is one. Okay, I mean, wow. Can I just say, look, I'm good at this shit, man, with the maps. All right, I just look up there and I go, hey, look at that spot. That's kind of high up, and look at that. I mean, that's just a massive cell tower with like, you know, tons and tons and tons of different companies. I bet there's 1, 2, 3. Every one of those is probably a different company there. Isn't that crazy, though? There it is. So that cell tower right there would easily connect down there. See that? Look how it looks out over all that. Easily. I'm going to have to put that on mark. Oh, man, sorry. Okay. Yeah, we don't need to know every single thing that you do, Boulder Smoky, but if you have something valuable in terms of what we're talking about, that'd be great. Yeah, so here's the cell tower's up here. So where she went jogging would have reception, at least, you know, hitting that top tower on there. I wouldn't doubt if there was some, you know, even another tower out there somewhere. But there you go. I mean, that's really clear. Man, I thought the rest of you guys would think that was cool that I found that cell tower just like that on a drop of a dime. It took me 2 seconds. Usually I have to type it in and try to find something. But not, I guess it's just so common for you guys. Yeah, I didn't think it was a stupid question. I don't know why you put that you thought it was a stupid question in there. That's just a normal question. Yeah, you guys are weird, man. I don't get it. So let's see. From right here at the top of that tower, I mean, it looks like she was, where was that? I mean, down in that little valley. So I don't know, it sort of does obstruct a little bit down there, but I think it's close enough where you could get a signal for sure. Yeah, I drew it. I did. Man, you guys are a tough crowd. I mean, out of nowhere, I go like this. Yeah, I wonder if there's a cell tower down there. This looks like a good spot. Boom! And there's one right there. You guys should have been like, holy crap, man. This is why we watch Gray Hughes Investigates, where location is evidence. All right, so let's go back to this. Now, we don't just say map time, like a little goofy little gimmick. We actually, mapping is a huge part of the cases. All right, so we got the Wednesday, July 8th, and then Thursday, July 9th. That's when her vehicle was located. She was not with the vehicle. I mean, don't you think that's ridiculous, by the way? I said that earlier on the earlier show. Don't you think it's ridiculous to say, you know, we're doing a missing person case. They located her vehicle on July 9th, and they say she was not with the vehicle. Wow. What a shock, man. For a minute there, I thought you found her, and yet she's still missing. That's incredible. Thank you for letting us know that she wasn't with the vehicle. I don't think any of us could have figured that out. And then right over here, husband has been, you know, people want to know, these are kind of putting out the debunking people. You know, so it's like, husband has been integral in the search. Husband is cooperating with law enforcement. Friends and family have stepped forward so he can focus on search efforts and their children. I guess you guys didn't think the same thing about that, them saying that she wasn't with the vehicle. Friends and family have stepped forward so he can focus on search efforts and their children. Husband attended the community vigil. That website states that there were no confirmed abnormalities in Angelica's behavior prior to her disappearance. Those are actually like family members in there. By the way, can you guys respond to what I just said? Do you guys think it's ridiculous that they tell us that she wasn't with the vehicle? I'll wait for you guys to respond to the first thing without me having to ask. Oh, did that thing fall off? I'm just going to wait. It's like talking to a brick wall in here. Okay, great. Yeah. So when I'm asking that, maybe type that in. You know what I mean? I didn't just say it to say to a empty space and nothing. Okay. All right. Yes, it's more than a little. It's almost. It's a whole missing person case, and you tell us they found her vehicle and she wasn't with it. The vehicle. Okay. I know, we know that. That's why she's still missing. You wouldn't have this flyer if she was with the vehicle. You know what I'm saying? But hey guys, any chance you could help support the channel tonight? We're just absolutely need the support from people watching. We need some channel memberships, gifted, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. All right, and then we go up here, and like I just did that one. And the vehicle is located in Dewan Valley within Palmer Mountain State Park on July 9th. The vehicle was locked. Keys have not been found. That's because she has the keys with her. Overflow parking. Does anybody out there actually think having the keys with her is weird? I don't at all. I think it's just she locked her car and took off. You know, I don't know, but it's like, well, if she was going to go do something to herself, why would she keep her keys with her? I don't know. It seems kind of weird that you would just chuck them back in the car with the car unlocked. It just, to me, it's just like, yeah, it's just whatever, man. She has her keys. It has no significance. So anyways, the vehicle was locked. Keys have not been found. That's because she's the one that locked the door. So the keys are with her. It's another one of those things. I would assume that the keys weren't found if the car is locked because she's the one that shut it, and because you haven't found her, you don't have the keys. Now you might say, well, she could have thrown them on. Yeah, sure, right. She could have thrown them on the ground somewhere. She didn't. But the keys are with her. Hey, thanks, Timothy Cecil. Man, another tough night in here. I think Ray feels like sometimes he's on the radio, and he's on, but it's dead air. No one. I know that's exactly what it sounds like. That's exactly what it feels like. I'll say stuff, and it's almost as if none of you heard anything that I just said because there's no response to it. All right, and it's actually I'm saying I don't just ramble on for the sake of rambling on. I'm thinking through stuff. It'd be great to have communication. That's how it works. So it says overflow parking is commonly used by campground visitors. So overnight vehicles are not usually ranger information shared by, I don't know what that means. Vehicles are not unusual. Overnight vehicles are not. Okay, well there's the answer to whatever question you had earlier. So it says that overnight vehicles are not unusual. So they're just, so they don't check them and whatever. Thanks, Allie K. And then the phone was recovered inside the vehicle. So, you know, the phone that she turned off, it's inside the vehicle, right? What's wild about that? Oh, come on, Cindy. It's totally different, completely different scenario in Tucson. In neighborhoods with people, and law enforcement probably told them not to do it. It's completely different when it's a wilderness area. Of course you need people. It's totally different. Oh, Jesus. Man, people people these days. The phone was recovered inside the vehicle. Yes, everybody. Savannah Guthrie should have flown over, put on some khaki shorts and a fedora, and walked around the neighborhood, and walked for miles and organized search parties and kept going and going. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Okay, I don't agree. So the phone was recovered inside the vehicle. The family reviewed the phone. So that means, so the phone was removed from the vehicle, and the family looked, had the phone in their hand. I wonder if they had a key, because they're the ones that went there and found the car, because they're the ones that pinged the watch. Police completed a forensic analysis, so they might have a really much better idea of what's going on. And then it says, no new public investigative leads from the phone. And then down here we have, because there's nothing to put out in that case, Cindy. I mean, don't you know the difference? Can't you sort of just intuitively figure that out? This case is not anywhere the same at all as that one. Hey, thank you, Honey Bee Fly. On July 9th, it was learned that Angelica's Apple Watch pinged on July 6th in Doana Valley area. So the family then responded to that area and located the vehicle. Apple Watch has not been publicly reported as recovered. I wonder if, I wonder how they got that ping information from her watch. I wonder when they got her phone, were they able to turn it on and somehow look at, does the phone then see where the watch was at that point? And then the park, they said there's no surveillance cameras inside Palmer Mountain State Park. Now, come on, that's something. Yeah, they've got that's, I don't understand not having surveillance cameras in parks. It's just, man, that's the place where all the killers go, man. I don't know what that means. Parking attendant reportedly confirmed Angelica entered the park alone. What do you mean? They said used an old phone she had at home. So what about her new phone? Where's her new phone at? I mean, they used her old phone? Well, I guess they couldn't have checked her phone to look at it, the watch, because that's how they found the phone. Yeah. Yeah, that didn't make any sense, what I just said. All right, so I guess they would have had to know where the watch was to be able to locate the vehicle with the phone inside the car. Yeah, to ping the watch. Okay, when you say they, who's they? I haven't seen it in any of these documents over here. Or not documents, these charts or whatever they're making. Yeah, you'll have to send me, show me where they said that, Cindy. Send me a Facebook. All right, and then up here, public Strava. So she actually did a walk at the same exact place and walked 4.5 miles on March 30th, 2026. And then that focus of the search has been in that area. And let me see, where is that? That one, that one, that one. Oh boy. Yeah, it looked like that. Hold on, I'm just trying to find that damn map. I think it's... Wow. That's crazy. It just sort of disappeared on me. I mean, it looked like this, but it was above that. But now that the original isn't around. Oh, here it is. It's really small. Yeah, so right here it said that she walked for 4.05 miles, and she was moving for an hour and 42 minutes. And then, but it started the walk to the end of it was 2 hours and 19 minutes. So there's a period of time where for about 36 or 7 minutes, she didn't move at all. Like she was still somewhere. I mean, it could have, you're walking around, you go to a creek, you're looking at the creek, whatever. But even the times that she's moving, I don't know why they're calling it a run, because she was walking at like 2.2 miles an hour. Really slow. You're just not moving quick at all. 2 miles an hour is very slow. So, she was just kind of lazily walking, basically, for that whole well, I don't know if it was for the whole time. It might have been like sometimes she's walking 2 miles an hour, and sometimes 3, and sometimes 1, just. She went missing on July 6th. Thank you, Michelle H. She went missing on the 6th. How do you not know that, Paulette? Yeah, and then here's the walking route. Oh, yeah, let's see what this says. So let's see, the 1 mile, she did 24:18, 25:18. So it looks like downhill, she walked 24 minutes per the mile, 25, 23 minutes, and then the very end was only, well, it says 0.84 miles in 24 minutes going uphill. So I don't know, she kind of had a consistent pace. That's just a friend of hers. There's only one person. There's only one adult. See this one over here? It's this person right there. These are her kids. Who's going to do a challenge tonight, you guys? We need to try to get one. We haven't reached the goal in 6 days straight, so if there's any chance you guys can help support the channel tonight, it'd be great. We've already seen the switchbacks. That's not where she was walking. There aren't switchbacks. And even if there were, it still keeps track of your GPS movements on the ground, so it's really slow. And it wouldn't be more miles. It actually keeps track of you moving back and forth. Anyways, yeah, so she knew exactly the same place that she's missing in right now. She'd been there 3 months before. Anybody hear what I said? Yeah, it's just... All right. And then so I actually put that map on there of where she walked. It was like this. This is the parking area right here. See that? The one on the right's her. Yeah. Yeah, we went over that earlier. Yeah, so right here is where the her path was on that day of April 30th or March 30th. So, parked in there, and then she probably walked to this location, it's hard to know exactly. This is what it showed on the map. So it looks kind of like she didn't really always go on the trails. But it went like this, and then she goes all the way up here. There do seem to be these little trails right on this. Pretty close to that, but then it has her kind of veer off over here so she doesn't stay on those. But, it goes all the way up there. That's not what I was looking at. Where's that one? I'm trying to see if that makes any sense. It doesn't really make any sense there. 1, 2. So if she started, because I think the arrows, like, see how the arrow, it looks like it means that, like that's the direction she was headed. So I don't really understand these elevation shifts here. Like, how could 1 and 2 be downhill when obviously it's uphill, right? I mean, this right here is 4,844, and then this is, oh, I guess that is downhill. God, really? Oh, I guess it does go down into a valley. Okay, cool. So that makes sense then. Wow, that's weird. I thought that was uphill for some reason. Yeah, so what they're saying is she went down 89 feet and then down another 301 feet and then up 56 and then 14. Yeah, so I guess this kind of does go down into the valley there. All right, guys, any chance, man? We got to get something moving along here. We're currently at 1/8 of a nightly goal again, you guys, with no alternative support at all. Yeah, so there it is right there. And then obviously it was, like it is downhill because I just measured it. See, right there, if you go like this is 4529, and this is, well, I guess from there, where was that other spot? Up here's higher. So yeah, the way she walked was kind of weird. So this part over here, where she parked, is 46. Let's see, 4677, and then all the way over here is 4541, so that's downhill there. Yeah, we're trying to do a challenge where maybe somebody will say, hey, I'll donate 5 memberships if 5 other people, and that gets us moving, because right now we're just not doing it. So but I guess it just is what it is. Alright, so I think we made it past that one, and then this one was the, if you were driving in these areas, did you have a camera running on your vehicle to everybody go check that? And then if you do find some footage, call the police department at 760-435-4900. And then this is the area that they searched at one point. That was the area that they had searched. I'm sure it's a lot bigger now. But that's represented inside this green area. So that shows you, like, they searched pretty much in there. If I was out there, I would have gone kind of more in, like, this direction. Although, I understand why they went that way, but it's... I'll tell you what's weird is her phone... Yeah, being turned off, you know? I mean, her phone being turned off, and then her watch apparently also not pinging. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how the Apple Watches work, though. Do they... I mean, I guess they still... Like, I have a... Yeah, my watch, it's a Android watch, Google Watch, but I think it's still... Yeah, without even being anywhere near my phone, it still has, you know, GPS coordinates and so forth. I knew that person was a troll. Get out of here. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I just got rid. That person is ridiculous. Anybody that types something like that in, you know. All right. What do we got? They weren't here to be supportive or helpful. I could tell, even earlier on. And here's her vehicle when it was found inside the park. And again, just for people who haven't seen it, you know, like the precise actual stall that she parked in is this one right there. And we know that because if you go down to Street View right here and you see that area right there, that's right here. And then there's that part, and it goes up like that, and that's there, it goes up like that. So her vehicle was literally parked inside of that stall right there, or however it works. I'm not sure, like, if that's even a line there, but right here is where it is parked. That's right in front of it, like this. So I guess that is a little tiny stall right there. Couldn't you tell, Cindy? That person was a troll. Who makes a comment like that? Maybe Mountain Lion did get her. I don't know. So Mountain Lion got her when she tried to hide herself? Man, that's bad luck. She didn't want anybody to know that she's at the park, and then she got a mountain lion. Mountain lion attacked her. Yeah, she was. Yeah, people don't type stuff like that in that are normal. They always come in and they try to act like they're seen. Are you talking to me, Haley, or Cindy? Maybe a mountain lion did get her. Just hard for me to believe they haven't seen her body. Yeah, what? Cindy? I don't know what that means. Maybe a mountain lion got her afterwards. Come on, you guys. Really? A mountain lion got her afterwards? She turned off her phone, left her phone in her car, and she goes hiking, and, you know, she doesn't want to be found, you know, because she turned off her phone and everything, and then a mountain lion got her? Wow. That is some bad luck, you know? She was going out there maybe to take her own life, and a mountain lion got her first. That is unbelievable. Incredibly bad luck. Yeah. That's why they haven't. Listen, this is how you know somebody is a troll. Wow, the whole chat is mods. That's their first comment out of the gate, right? That's the classic one from them. Then they come in and say every single comment was, "Hey, what's a chat?" You know, it's just, come on. I've seen it a million times. I don't know, Joey. Right, but it's so unlikely that it's one of those things where you just skip over it. I don't know what she was doing with a mountain lion. Okay, sure, all right. Okay, a mountain lion could have got her. She went gambling. She, left her kid at a camp. Had somebody else pick her up. She goes over to a gambling place, and then after that goes all the way up in the mountains when she has to work at 7 o'clock. Gets up there at like 4:20, and then makes sure that her phone isn't working. It's turned off. And then she leaves all of her identification and everything and her phone inside the vehicle. The only thing she had with her were her keys and the watch. And somehow a mountain lion got her instead. Whew, wow. That's amazing. Yeah, no, hey, Haley, I know what I'm doing. I've seen these people 1,000 times. I don't care what the mods thought of it. I'm the one. I've seen it. Okay. I'm not sure why you're questioning me on that. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I've done it. I've seen those people 1,000 times. They say the same things over and over and over again. I don't know why you need to know what the mods thought of it. Jesus. Man, what the hell's going on, man? It's crazy. All right, here we go. We've got the Angelica Brophy case facts here. Here we go. Now, I don't think she's a troll. What are you talking about, Cindy? She's been here a long time. Was Angelica's daughter pickup prearranged? Yes. According to that page, which the family's in there, another parent was already scheduled to pick up Angelica's daughter. Right. But it says the carpool arrangement was made that morning. Okay, well, that means it wasn't already, see, they made it worded in a way like it was something for, like a week before. But it was obviously, if she's going to be picked up by another parent, it was made prior because she took off, right? And so it's made that morning, so that means, yes, she made it right then. Like right when she dropped the kid off at camp, she did that, all right? And then it says, why isn't Angelica's husband searching? Her husband is leading search efforts and being present for their children. And see, it's like, oh man, I don't know. This isn't one of those cases where I was even thinking about the husband or anything of that nature at all. It just doesn't make any sense. Angelica's brother, Martin, and Ramon are also assisting. Yeah, how do we know Angelica entered Palomar Mountain State Park? See, these parts are interesting here. It says a parking attendant confirmed Angelica purchased a parking pass on July 6th. Although the parking station often operates on the honors system. So sometimes you just go in and I guess you put, I don't know if it costs money to do it, $5 or whatever, or maybe 10, 20, 30, California. Although the parking station often operates on the honor system, an attendant was present that day and was able to identify Angelica. And then it says where was Angelica between 9:30 a.m. and approximately 3:40? I know a guy who got up. I know a guy who got ready for work at 4 a.m., went to the gas station, got gas, got his morning coffee, then drove. Yeah, well, we just went over the same case yesterday, 2 days ago. Same damn thing. The lady in Oregon who drove out, she had two or three kids and a husband. And she went over I said this 3 days ago, went to a gas station and got gas and then bought some candy and stuff. And then went out in the woods and, took her life, not with a gun or anything. Just, I think she used a rope or something. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was just like, what the hell, what's happening? Why'd you do that? It was crazy. All right, you guys, I need your guys' support in here. Who's going to do a challenge for tonight's show? I would appreciate it. We need the support from the people watching the show to keep on going here, but we've had almost none for like 45 minutes. So if you guys have the ability, that would be great. I don't know what else to do better. I'm just doing my show. Do I need to throw myself in prison? What do I need to do? Was Angelica familiar with the area? Yes, she ran there. She actually went out there at some point. On March 30th, a friend stated she had hiked her... Whoa, look at that. For Gray's rough night. It is a rough night. It's crazy, you guys. You guys are all over on me. I didn't do anything. I'm just doing a show. But thank you, Haley. Hey, look at that. A cat eye donation. Man, how often do we get those anymore? We used to get them 2 or 3 a night. Now it's like a unicorn. Yeah, it's been a rough night. Absolutely. Anyways, thank you for that one. Appreciate it. Oops, what happened right there? Oh. This is one of the ones that I really want an answer for right here. It's like, where was Angelica between 9:30 a.m. and 3:40 when she left the casino? Was she at the casino? Because, it would take a while. I don't know how far away the camp was to the resort, but, maybe let's just say an hour at the most to drive there. So was she at the casino for 5 hours? Hey, come on, Cindy. You know the answer to those. When you're in there, you lose track of time, right? You go in there, you don't know what time it is. But I just think it's kind of weird to have it be 3:40 and you're still at a casino, and then you go, hey, I'm going to drive up to this mountain that's 45 minutes away. Even though I work in 3 hours and 10 minutes, I'm going to drive to a mountain, a park that's 45 minutes away, go on a hike, and then I'm going to, get back to my car and then drive an hour and 10 minutes to get to the hospital where I work. I don't know. You don't find that a little odd? I mean that little tiny background music, the Joey? Anybody have any comments on anything I just said? Right. Yeah, I don't think it's normal at all to drive all those distances and then, to go hiking before you go work a night shift as an emergency room doc. I mean, a nurse. I just don't think people do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see. She wasn't expecting to work that night, and who could care if she did go gambling? Who would care if she did go gambling? She wasn't expecting... Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I think she just was taking sort of a last hurrah day. Like, hey, I'm going to go gambling. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do this. Hey! Wait. Did I supposed to do? You might not have heard, or maybe you have. When I first said it, all it was fine. Used to get angry and all uptight. You can say what you want to spell my name right. All merely guilty is rocking a house. That's what the room was all about. Is me other than tell all your friends, and you don't wait till you see me again this way. I can hear from the horse's mouth right then and there. We straighten it out. There we go. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. Good evening. Great. Fabulous work in the case. Loved your video yesterday. Hey, cool. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Anyways, thank you. All right. We have no gifted memberships tonight. 0. Isn't that amazing? I don't think I've ever seen that. All right, let's see. Okay, so where we're at? Where was Angelica between 9:30 and 3:40? I think probably most of the time she was at the casino. I bet you she drove. I mean, who knows? Maybe she went and got gas or something. But she went to the casino. That's what her goal was after dropping her daughter off at the camp. And then it says, "Hey, thanks, South Texas guy." It says, was Angelica, and thank you, Chris O'Connell, for the avocado dance. Good morning. Where are you at? Where are you at, Chris O'Connell? Are you, let's see, you must be in Europe or something. Oh, okay. All right. I was like, whoa, okay. Well, you say good evening, and then you say, oh yeah, okay. Thanks, South Texas guy, for gifting a membership. Yeah. And then, could Angelica have hiked and still made it to work? So that's sort of, we've asked that one. Yeah, and yes, yes, she could have. I've already looked it up. It's an hour and 10-minute drive. That means she would have to take off at 5:50, and she got there at 4:20. So yeah, I mean, she could have walked she couldn't have done that 2-hour run that she did. She'd have to do some short one, but would she really go all the way up there to do some short little walk? At the pace that she does it? Yeah, that's weird. So it does say that. Could Angelica have hiked and still... See, we've talked about all these different things. Possibly her daughter's pickup had already been arranged. Yeah, we know that. And a coworker shared that staff at their ER have access to a space where some employees shower before or after shifts. Okay. Yep, so that makes it a possibility. What was Angelica? I mean, we talked about that. That yes, it's possible she could have gone up there, exercised, and got back. What doesn't seem likely is that she would go on this hike without her cell phone in a place where you're by yourself. It seems like you would almost certainly bring that with you. Now, that doesn't mean she had to bring it with her, but it seems like she would almost certainly bring it with her. What do you guys think? So what was that poll question? Did she turn her phone off? See how it says no? 56 percent said no. Almost every one of those people was a troll that showed up. There's no way that you would think that she isn't the one that turned off her phone. Well, not everyone. I'd say half of those votes. That's how it always turns out. They always show up and vote exactly the opposite of rational thought because that's what their brains are wired that way. It's weird. Well, the thing is about her kid is she just wanted to make sure her kid was safe because she wasn't going to go pick up her kid later that day. Yeah, I agree with that, though. I think that's a good, like all this stuff right here. Responsible about the kids, then everything else she did was super irresponsible. What the heck? Look at that. Chris O'Connell just gifted 10 memberships. Well, there we go. That makes it so we now have 11. Thank you. And then, let's see. Coworkers shared the access to... Okay, and then the next one. What was Angelica doing at Harrah's? According to her family, Angelica went to Harrah Resort, Southern California, to use her Harrah's rewards. Well, it turns out that the Harrah, as Cindy and other people were saying earlier, and then I looked it up, you get these rewards for using, gambling money that you spend, or buying something to eat, or purchasing something, or staying at the hotel there. You get rewards points that you can then use to gamble with, etc. So her family says she was there to use her Harrah rewards, which might be sort of code for gambling. What do you think, Cindy? Or you've already taken off? And then why wasn't Angelica reported missing until 9:30? Okay, because Angelica failed to report. This isn't very well written on this one. It said Angelica failed to report for her scheduled 7 p.m. shift. When she could not be reached, she was reported missing later that evening. Okay, right. But I mean, what they really wanted you to do is give a better, the answer needs to be, when she couldn't be reached, they then contacted her husband and said, hey, your wife never showed up to work. Then he searched around and then he called police. I think that's a really short amount of time. I think it's weird that people are asking, hey, how come nobody called until 9:30, you bastard? Well, how about this? That's only 2.5 hours, 7 o'clock is when she was supposed to be at work. She wasn't missing until she didn't show up to work. That's 7 o'clock. So 2.5 hours later, they call the cops. That's quick. That is lightning fast. Normally, people spend hours and hours and hours trying to find them first because they don't want to get cops involved if it isn't something unusual. I almost feel like the fact that they called that soon means that they had some sort of worry about her prior. I mean, that makes sense to me. It's like, did the husband already sense something, that she was a little depressed or something? Because that's so fast, or could have just been so out of the ordinary that she never misses work. And once he heard, but I mean, that's so fast to be already contacting cops. That's just, oftentimes when you see something like that really fast, they already had some inkling of, once they heard, oh my God, she didn't show up. Okay, she said that blah, 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 go through the whole thing. That maybe she did something. Who are you talking to, Dan? I don't know what you're referring to. I mean, I know what you're referring to. I don't remember saying anything like that. Okay, so we have that. That's fact page number 1. That last picture taken of her looked like she wasn't as happy. Yeah, she didn't at all. I didn't want to say it on the first show earlier, but she just doesn't look the same. See that? I mean, she's smiling, sure, but I'd like to. I wonder. She did comment, this lady, though. Where is that? Yeah, underneath this picture, it said, "Hi all, just wanted to introduce myself and share a photo I took. This was taken on July 5th in Westlake, California. We had lunch with the Brophy family the day before she went missing. We are very concerned for her health." Yeah. So, I mean, that was the day before. I wonder how far away that is from where she lives. Ah, way up there? Jesus. No, that's not it. West Lake. Is that down there? Westlake, Los Angeles, maybe? Yeah. I don't know, man. In Westlake, California. That's interesting. I don't think it doesn't even exist in here. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's really kind of weird. Westlake, California. There's a Westlake, Los Angeles. But I mean, I can't imagine her going way up. That's just way up there to get to that. No, it says Westlake Village. Okay. Where does it say that? It didn't say that in the... Did it? And Westlake Village is way up there. I don't know. I don't believe that. I guess I don't really care either. You know, that doesn't. It's not a. Yeah, but I saw Westlake Village. That's not it. I saw it when I typed in Westlake. When you go up on Google Earth up here in the upper left and you type in Westlake and then California, a whole bunch, it says Westlake, Los Angeles, Westlake Village, Westlake, Daly City, California, blah, 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 blah. You know, so that's it. All right, so this is page 2. Publicly reported investigative efforts include reviewing surveillance footage, determining Angelica's movements, determining whether she won money at Harrah's. So, I mean, I think that automatically lets us know she was gambling, right? Oops. Continuing coordination with search and rescue. And so this is the Oceanside Police Department. They're determining whether she won money at Harrah's. Yeah, it just looks like she's kind of... Well, I mean, you can always catch somebody in a weird face, right? Like I could be, you know... I mean, you could be if you're videoing somebody or taking a picture, they might not be making, it's hard to judge something totally on a face. Her overall look, she doesn't seem like she sort of got ready or anything like that. So it's Westlake with a space. Okay, so the writing didn't have a space in it. Maybe if I type it like that. Westlake, California. That still says Los Angeles again. That's way far away from here. But that doesn't mean she couldn't have driven there. You know what we could use in here tonight, you guys? Just one challenge. We haven't had one. There's a lot of things that we haven't had. We hadn't had earlier. We had no channel memberships. We still don't have a challenge. All right, let's go back to this, though. What was Angelica's vehicle? Or what was in it, I mean. So there was a cell phone, purse, wallet, passport, cash, Stanley water cup. Not really sure why that matters, but so you had a purse, and inside the purse was a wallet. Inside the wallet is the cash, and I think there was also like ID earlier too. But like inside the purse is the wallet, inside the purse is the cash, and then her cell phone was in. Probably not in her purse. People don't normally put their cell phone in a purse. And then the Stanley water cup. Not sure what relevance that has, but why the brand needed to be mentioned, I guess. Whether work clothes or other work-related items were in the vehicle has not been publicly confirmed. See, that would be interesting, because apparently she was wearing tights, black running tights, and like a gray shirt. Hey, look at that. It's Karen. How the hell's it going? Yeah, the one in Los Angeles I found. Which one's closest to Oceanside? You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Whether work clothes or other work-related items were in the vehicle is not publicly confirmed. See, that would be interesting if they found that she had her nursing outfit inside the vehicle. Although, I don't know, do they have lockers? You always see it in the shows on TV, like in the lockers. I don't know if nurses have them. I think doctors probably do, but the nurses, maybe you kind of just show up in your scrubs. I don't know. I mean, it probably just depends on the hospital. But I wanted to pop in and say hi. Hey. Well, cool, Karen. Where you been? I haven't seen you for like a couple weeks, it seems like. Yeah, if they didn't find him, then that's what I'm saying. That's what the question is. If they don't find that stuff, then you'd say, okay, well, does she have a locker that she can change into? So that would be a moot point at that point. She'd show up to work, take a rinse off, get in her scrubs, boom, Why wasn't the vehicle removed immediately? The vehicle remained at the trailhead until July 15th. What I like about at least this site and everything is there's a lot of information that is out there. I think we have all the information in Nancy Guthrie's case that's possibly to get, Why wasn't the vehicle removed immediately? The vehicle remained at the trailhead until July 15th. He was intentionally left there in case Angelica returned. Really? Huh. I mean, she disappears on the 6th and somehow she's miraculously going to come out on the 15th? Well, what's interesting about that? What does that imply that they know that they would think of doing that? I didn't really think about that till just now. It's like, what does that mean? You know, what was, when it says, why was the vehicle removed immediately? Why wasn't it? And they say, the vehicle remained at the trailhead until July 15th. Because in case she returned, that's sort of interesting that they would even think that, you know. I mean, why, I guess without seeing her, you don't know, but was there anything that they heard or were looking at that makes them think, you know what, she could be out there somewhere, you know? Maybe she took off. I mean, the other thing that we've talked about is maybe she took off with some guy, you know? But I just don't think so. There's no mention that she was with anybody else while she was gambling. I just think it's sort of weird that if they're thinking that, then maybe they're seeing something. Why wasn't the vehicle, and then what was the vehicle taped off or fingerprinted? According to the family at that website, the vehicle was marked with traffic cones. I've seen that. That's right here. But was not surrounded by crime scene tape. Whether fingerprints processing or other forensic processing was conducted has not been publicly disclosed. Where did the Apple Watch last ping? It was last known Apple Watch ping was near Doan Pond. This has not been publicly verified. But then we have this right here, which is, I thought this was awesome. I'm not sure, exactly. It looks like they're getting this from her phone or something. And it says view object details. Or maybe this is just somebody else's phone and they put pins where they were told the phone pinged or something. But this is, her Apple Watch ping. And I've actually already entered that in. And that brings you, so the parking area is right here. I mean, hell, I think we can do this. Let's see if we're right there. I'm not sure if we can get out of here, but you walk down this trail right in front of us. Let's go back down there. Here's that trail. And then she would have walked like this. And I guess there's a trail that she could have taken right there. But she didn't. I think she went like this. And then around that corner up there. The lake's right around that corner. Okay, now we're right at that intersection. And the way they had her, the pin for her was through here. So it almost seems like, unless she was head faking people, it doesn't seem like it. She went that direction. What's interesting, if it didn't ping anymore, they should probably check that water right there for that watch. But then she just kept walking down, through this. I mean, maybe that's where she went, because that's where her phone pinged. Yeah, see how I have it in there? So you come around like this, and then you're sort of heading off over here, and that's where that other path is. Not that road, but there's a path that goes in there. And I think that might, as weird as it seems, now that we're looking at that, see, like, from right there, is that a road right there? I'm pretty sure that's a road. Let me just see if there's a way to see. I think there's a path up there. Just above, up in there. Because, let's go ahead and try this. Let's see. So right here, let's see if there's any of that 3D street view walking stuff in here. Yeah, I don't see anything. Was there one in there? Oh, there was. Look at that. Jeez. There was one in there. So there's these little trails. See that? On the ground there. Yeah, it's so weird. I thought I saw the glimmer of one of those things. But see, isn't that crazy? Because the way that her last phone pinged is on the way to exactly where she started her run that other time. Isn't that interesting? I think that should be more interesting to people. How did that do that a minute ago? I just sort of dropped it in there and yeah, there it did it again. So I think that's an interesting element. Let me go up higher. Can you see it? Yeah. So somewhere right in there is where I just dropped. Let me see if there's one right in there. Yeah. Jeez. Wow. That's really kind of crazy right there, right? Because it does seem like because her watch ping there, let me just show you what I'm talking about here. So here's the right there, right? So look at 33, 34, 07. I'll put it in right up here, watch. 33 dot 34079, comma, negative 116.90158. Did I do that right? I don't think 33. Nah, I don't know where that one went. Let me see. 33. Oh wait, I did that wrong. So I said 34. It should 31. It should be 34. And then negative 116.90158. Okay. There it is. See, it puts it right there, right inside the woods there. And that is when you're coming this direction, you veered off to the right, and then all those little street views that I just showed you, but they weren't really street views, they're leading right up to where that, let me see, is it going to work again? I guess it's all just the same picture right there, but that leads, there's a trail that leads to where she started to run. So it's like she went to a place where she was familiar. Well, this is their, this is from, if you missed it earlier, this is from March 30th. She went there. Just a second. She went there and walked 4 miles. She went up like this, up here like that, and then down like this, and then over here. And she only walked like 2 miles an hour. It wasn't a run, like they say. Man, stupid splitter over here. I need to clean it out. Getting allergies. But let's see if we can get one challenge in here tonight, you guys. We haven't reached the goal on the channel in 6 days straight, so it'd be nice to get there. If we can get a challenge in. Well, basically what we need is 11 channel memberships, and we'll have reached the goal today. The minimum goal, you know. I think that'd be cool. So a challenge would maybe work. Oh man. Man, isn't it weird, like during the night sometimes I'll be doing the show and all of a sudden out of nowhere these allergies kick in. for no reason. Just a second. Hey, look at that. We got one from Karen. She'll do 25 on PayPal if 5 people donate 5 memberships. So we can all type in look it, but instead of typing look it, let's try to reach the challenge right there. That'd be awesome. Thank you, Karen. So it says, has Angelica's cell phone been recovered? Yes, according to the family, and Angelica's cell phone was recovered from her vehicle. It shared. It has. Let's see. I guess the family is shared. Nah, I guess. Well, it's the website, but the family's on there. Shared that the family reviewed the phone before it was turned over to law enforcement. And law enforcement conducted a forensic examination. So they looked at it first and then gave it to them. So they probably got into it, you know. Hey, wow, thanks again there, Allie Cake and Chris O'Connell. That's the way Jason's. I say Chris O'Connell, and Jason says Chris O'Connell. You know, when he tries to imitate it, so it's just, you know. Anyways, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Was the phone intentionally turned off? Unknown. Oceanside Police Department has not publicly stated whether the phone was intentionally powered off or whether it simply stopped communicating. Well, when you say stop communicating, it must have been off, right? Because when you got it, was it on? I mean, you would know when you found the car that the phone was on or not. And there's a cell tower out there, so I don't know about that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we still need. We need to try to have like a good day though. So if somehow we can keep getting support. That'd be great because we, like I said before, we've had 3 days that are 3 days in a row that are like half of a normal day, and then some other days. Hey, look at that! We got Zozo in the house. My God, 76 months of pure hell, isn't it? I mean, what is that? 6.5 years of just absolute abject misery. Hey, how's it going? I almost feel like I should play the when Zozo showed up. Let's see. Maybe we should play this one. Let's see. Yeah! It's Zozo in the house! Okay, there you go. Hey, thanks, Dan. Really appreciate that. Gifting a membership. I'm saying perhaps he'll credit your account on your... What are you talking about, Paulette? Who are you talking to? What happened? I don't know what you're saying. What happened to Karen? I don't know what I can't find her comments up there. Mm-hmm. All right, so was the phone intentionally turned off? I think it was. You know, I think everything else lines up. I mean, let me just say this: if her phone lost power, well, I got to go back in time. Law enforcement knows exactly what the phone was doing. They can go look at cell towers and go, "Oh wow, it stopped pinging on a cell tower at this time." So they might know that the phone stopped pinging at a tower just after she left Hera. Other than that, I guess I don't, it's hard to know for certain, but wouldn't you charge the phone? Like, let's say it's dead and you go, oh crap. When you're on your drive up to go hiking, you've got 45 minutes to charge that phone in the car. Well, Gray, maybe her charger was left home, you bastard. Well, okay, now we're trying to, keep looking for an out here. Oh, her dentist broke a tooth off? Jesus. That's crazy. I mean, how the hell do you do that? Well, they got to fix it. I mean, for sure. All right, so we went through this page. Let's go to the third one. I think it's this page right here. Yeah, so Oceanside Police are urging the public to provide any information, including doorbell or surveillance footage from July 6th between 2 o'clock p.m. and 6 p.m. We need to talk to the businesses or go to door asking to save surveillance video, OPD website. I guess we were just reading this third one. All right, and then also, you guys, what we're forgetting about is don't forget about how I think the same day she sent a message out to, or was it could have been, hold on a second, let me get this. It's right here. I don't want to get it wrong. So it's right here. Her last message in our group chat, so I don't know what day it was thanking us for being such great friends. But then she says, but that's something we did all the time. I have 4 children, so sometimes I'd message the group saying, I had a terrible mom day. Thanks for being there. Or after a hard shift, say, thanks for listening. I love you. Okay, but see how there's a reason on all those ones? Like there's actually a reason to say thank you. All right, and I got to open this up again with Firefox. Forgot. That's stupid. Let me put it in here. There's a reason to say thank you. Now, in her case, she just sort of said, where was that? Thanking us for being such great friends, like almost out of the blue. You see, her example shows how normal people do it, where you have a bad day at work and then you start texting people and they go, oh, yeah, I really appreciate you guys for helping me out. And that's kind of the samples they gave, but hers seemed to be just out of the blue. Hey, thanks for being such great friends. So I think that's an interesting element that you always got to keep in there. I guess these are more pictures here. I think that looks like the same one in that picture. Probably other nurses. Yeah, she got like perfect teeth. It's crazy. Look at that. I don't know if there's anything more in here, though. Let's see. It just doesn't make sense to me, her friend said. On what Brophy was hiking, why she was hiking solo. See? Doesn't that mean something to you guys? Like these kinds of things. On their phones all day and only have one charger. I don't think so, man. I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Dan. I mean, my wife's Filipino, but she doesn't. She's never on her phone. Their phones all day and only have one charger. Have to go get my wife a new charger all the time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that has to do with anything. You know. And no, she's not a. You get these trolls. If you marry somebody that's Filipino, they think that they were mail ordered. I mean, these people are the racist, most racist jackasses I've ever seen that show up on social media. They'll go, Gray's got a mail. Yeah, it's like, God, man, you guys are sick. Yeah. Yeah, but it is sort of like Micah Miller. Yeah, she called 911. This one didn't. There's many cases like this one if she did take her own life. That's crazy, Karen. Jeez. You should see if you can get some damages over there. That's ridiculous. All right, so we got that. Well, let's see. Let me make sure I don't miss anything else that was in that one. Let me type in the word alone. That was where. How about now? Can you hear me now? Hello, 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 hello. I'm not sure what happened there. I got this shut out of my StreamYard. Okay, you should be able to hear me now, I think. Okay. Weird. Weird, 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 weird. Not sure what happened there. Hey, I'm still here, you guys. Now let's see if we can get some more gifted memberships out there, you guys. That'd be great. On YouTube, we're still not at the goal. Just YouTube itself. We got the 125 from Karen, so let's see if we can. We need a. Let's see, what is that? Yeah, I think we're 7 memberships short. And he's back. What the heck? Is that Phyllis Watson? Holy crap, man. She's saying if 5 of you donate 1 channel membership, she'll donate 10. That's like a 3-for-1er for helping support the channel. Well, thank you so much there, Phyllis. I had to get back down to this part down here. I was reading here for like 5 minutes, you guys. However much, well, not 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes when it was dark. But let's see if we can get those 5 gifted memberships up there, and then Phyllis will donate 10. That would be amazing. Give a lot more memberships out to people. I think I was disconnected for a while. Haley. Yeah, I said that, like 2 minutes. Let's see. It's like looking for the word hike. She's an experienced hiker, but said her disappearance does not fit her usual routine. The unanswered questions have left friends considering every possibility. It just doesn't make sense to me, Site said, on why Brophy was hiking solo. See, that's a friend of hers that thought that was weird. But hey, guys, we need 4 more of those gifted memberships. Also, the time she went, I feel like there's no concrete information leading us firmly down any path, which is why this has been so challenging. Obviously, we're searching the mountain because that's where her car was found, but we haven't had any hits from the search dogs. We've had helicopters, drones, foot patrol, trained volunteer. Wouldn't that be crazy if she actually got into a car with... yeah, but everybody's typing in, yeah, great, get to the challenge, but why don't you guys help do it? Let's get to the challenge, you guys. We just need 3 more. It would be kind of weird if there was another car there and she went with that person. But that doesn't really make sense, I think she would have been, like, would she sit there and hang out at a casino all day and then just drive up to meet some guy at a park way later? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, they're talking about the phone, not the phone. The dogs weren't picking up on a scent. Well, thanks for subbing, Mama Bear. Come on, freaks. Let's try to reach the goal up there by Phyllis. Come on. We can do it. Man, I hate when it's this slow like this. It sort of means that people are just like, yeah, forget it, Gray, forget it. Right, Cecil. You can be one of those people, right? Come on, you guys. Let's see if we can do it. We've had helicopter, drone. I guess we just need 2 because both of Karen's are worth 15. So we just need 2. We've had helicopters, drones, foot patrol, trained and volunteer searchers. That's why we're still searching there in case she's there, but we're also pleading for anyone with information to come forward because did someone take her? Did she run away? Did she hurt herself? Did she get lost hiking? See, isn't that weird? These are all, did she hurt herself? Now that could be like, 2 things. Intentionally hurt herself, or did she fall down somewhere? But I think here's the thing, where she was running, if she had fallen down and hurt herself, wouldn't she be easy to find? Just like right off the trail somewhere. It seems like it. But in cases like this, when somebody goes out and maybe does something to themselves, it usually means that they disappeared. They went somewhere on their, like, away so they couldn't be found by people. It's the same thing in the Peak 6 case. What was the name of that one? In Breckenridge, Colorado area. That one guy, we actually, that's one of the cases we used funds to identify a person. So he was found up on side of this hill, and there was a gun with him. The gun had its serial numbers filed off so well that even the FBI couldn't figure out what the serial number was. And they found a skull way down a hill. And he'd been there a long time, but the skull rolled down a hill, and then they went up to the top, and there he was. There's all these different items, and they even made a clay model. He kind of ended up looking like the guy. But he didn't want to be found. He placed himself at the top of this hill overlooking this beautiful valley, and then he took his life up there. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, thanks everybody for helping do the challenges, and thank you so much there, Phyllis Watson and Chris O'Connell up above for yours, and everybody really. We had, let's see, we had also it was Haley up there. That was cool. So thanks, guys. And also Karen with your 777s all over the place. Did she run away? Did she hurt herself? Did she get lost hiking? On Monday, when she went missing, all of those possibilities would have seemed insane. But the longer I've thought about it, you start looking at every interaction through a different lens. You can't say any of those things couldn't have happened. On Wednesday evening, those closest to Brophy gathered with candles outside the hospital where she has worked since 2023, hoping to keep attention focused on the increasingly desperate search. Brophy's family attended the vigil but declined to speak publicly. One of her brothers, however, see, that's interesting that they don't want to speak publicly, any of these people, because it must mean that it feels like they know private information that would point people in a different direction. See, here's what the truth is when a lot of times when cases are determined that it starts looking most likely to be self-harm somewhere, that a lot of people get disinterested. But I don't get disinterested. For me, it's exactly the same. It's still a missing person that you need to find, and it doesn't change anything. It's still a mystery to be solved. But so sometimes I think that law enforcement wants people to be quiet on stuff like that so that the interest and focus doesn't go away. Isn't that sad? Because that is the reason. Divers search the pond. Let's see down here. You don't know who you're supposed to be talking to or who handles what. None of us had ever been through anything like this. It's not like the movies where the whole world stops to focus on one case. That's not reality. It's been difficult adjusting to realistic expectations and accepting that I won't know everything happening behind the scenes, Sites concluded. I just keep hoping there's a lot more going on than I'm aware of because sometimes it feels like nobody's doing anything, even though I know that's not true. Yeah. So, there you go. What's this one here? Okay. I guess this is another... Is that the one we were looking at? That looks different. Besides the gray shirt and black leggings, what was Angelica wearing? Unknown. Additional clothing, footwear, or accessories have not been publicly confirmed. Alright. And then that's that same map that I have on there. That's not really a big search area, for sure. Alright, so I guess if you're just breaking it down, again, I'll just try to do it in my head so I can do it quick. She's over here. That's where she lives, right there. Then she took her kid to a camp at 9:30 in the morning. And then while she was there, prearranged for her kid to get a ride home. And then after that, she went over to the casino over here and used her reward points to very likely gamble. And she was here till around, I guess, 3:40, they said, on a later update. So from there, she took off. And then her cell phone at some point between there and getting to the park was dead. So she drove all the way up to the park, going up these windy roads and around and then in like that. I mean, that's exactly the route, up these windy roads, up like this. And then I wonder if there's even a sign right there that mentions the park. I bet there is. There's got to be something like that. Or I guess you just have a road, it says state park on the road. So you go up that direction, all the way up, driving around, up, all the way up here. And then I think somewhere right in here, I think you turn and it kind of goes around and makes it into this park over here. Well, she arrives at the park at 4:20. And then she parks right here in this stall, backed in. Okay, so she came in and backed in, which some people just back in naturally. I have a friend that if you back in, he'll never be your friend. He says it's like the worst thing in the world that people literally take the time to back in. He can't stand it. He hates it. Like, we've actually had these golf trips where he banned people from going that he witnessed do it. And I said, well, what about if you drive through and it's a straight one and you go to the next one? He goes, well, how can you prove that you did that? And I go, well, I guess I'll have to videotape it when I'm doing it if I do that. Because sometimes I do drive through the one. I don't back in. I drive through the one. Yeah, so there you go. And so then that's at 4:20. And then in the car, she leaves her... I'm just doing this by my memory. She leaves her purse, her wallet. I guess there was cash. her ID, I think they said on some of the earlier ones, a passport, maybe it didn't say ID, but it said passport, and then she also left her phone in the car, and then she exited the vehicle and then locked it with her keys. That's why the car's locked when they found it. And then she walks away. I think the keys are absolutely irrelevant. Like, whether if she left them in the car or she took them with them, it's the same thing. It doesn't mean anything. It's just really natural to shut your car door and lock it, and now you've got the keys in your hand. You probably wouldn't just leave it unlocked, especially if you're trying to hide, being there, because then somebody might just break into the car and then use your car. Who knows how it would work. I mean, it just doesn't mean anything. Then after that, she starts walking this direction, and then her Apple Watch that she had on pinged apparently right there. But then it didn't continue to ping, or they would say that, right? I mean, it just sort of pinged there, and then they're not telling us about any other pings. Now, I would think law enforcement would have, they know exactly what she was doing at the casino for all those hours earlier. Like she, dropped her kid off at 9:30 and left the casino at 3:40. So that's 6 hours and 10 minutes. And so I don't know, maybe it's an hour to drive to the casino, and then she was there for 5 hours, gambling and gambling and gambling. And then she takes off, and then apparently she just sent a text message to friends saying, hey, it's, thank you guys for always being a good friend. And then she leaves the casino, goes up there, doesn't want to be tracked, so her phone is turned off. And all she has on is a watch. And I'm not sure, I don't know if everybody knows that you can be tracked with your watches. I think a lot of people just think they're just sort of, they can do your footsteps and whatnot. And, but anyways, so she had her watch and her keys, but maybe she did realize that because all of a sudden the watch doesn't ping anymore. That's kind of weird. And then she didn't show up to work at 7 o'clock. And it's hard for me to not think it's weird that at 4:20 she decides to go up to a mountain and go hiking before a night shift at 7. Like, a lot of that time is driving. As a matter of fact, when she left the casino at 3:20, she's going to have to drive for almost 2 hours worth of driving just to make sure she gets it back, gets to work on time. 45 minutes up to the park, and then an hour and 10 minutes to get to the hospital where she worked. So I don't know. Everything in this case to me points to somebody. I mean, not every single thing, but most of it points to somebody who wants to, not be tracked. They're sort of like there's something going on that we're not aware about. Obviously, she gambled because there was, maybe she gambled and she was hiding all this stuff from her husband or something. And then it's to a point where it's too much. I mean, I don't know what the deal is there, but there's something going on. And then she just went up there, and I think because she's a nurse, she had access to various drugs and medications and so forth, and maybe walked, 5, 6, 7 miles away, sort of sat next to a tree and just took some of that, and that's it. I mean, that's just kind of how I picture it. It could be, the other option that actually works with a lot of the information would be that she was going to meet up with some guy there, and then, to kill time that day, she went to a casino, and then she didn't want anybody to track that she was meeting somebody, so turned off her phone, and then she drove up to this parking area, and that person's right there in the parking lot too. Then I don't know. Yeah, why would you leave your purse? See that? There you go. That one takes that away. Like, why wouldn't you just leave your phone in there? And why wouldn't you still take your purse and your other stuff that you might need if you take off with this guy? Okay, now you could say, well, maybe she met up with a guy there, and they walked up into the woods somewhere to hang out or whatever, and things went wrong, and he did something to her. But then also at that point, you'd say, well, wouldn't there be that same person who took her ticket when she gave her the ticket when she came in? Wouldn't they have seen this other vehicle? Wouldn't they be aware of that? You know, and they are having people look for camera footage and so forth, but there aren't any cameras in the park, so it'd come down to that same person noticing that. Now, I don't know if it works that way. Do they have to drive by the same place going in? You know? Yeah. I don't know. The chucking the Maddie part doesn't seem as likely in this case. But yeah, I mean, that's that secondary option for sure. Chucking a Maddie. Yeah, man, that one was crazy. I actually figured that case out before the cops did. That one was crazy. Like, you know what's funny about the Maddie Bell case was, do you guys remember that? Like, I was literally talking with the sheriff on the phone, and I got him to tell me, like, what was going on in the surveillance footage, and I immediately said, well, that means she took off with the guy willingly, man. Look at this. And he wanted information on her boyfriend and everything. And I had totally lost interest in the boyfriend at that time because it just was like absolutely nailed right after that. Yeah, so, and then she took off with some guy, that Maddie Bell, and then after a couple days out on the run, she didn't really like that other guy, and then she got back together with the boyfriend that everybody accused. What a stupid case that was. It's actually kind of funny how stupid it was, really. Remember she was on that video with that other person? Yeah, this case here seems, like I just said, I gave you the other options as a possibility, but I think it's more likely that she just walked off somewhere. I mean, I think they should look over here. I mean, she'd have to be kind of like a genius almost to think, okay, I'll walk this way, then I'll turn off my watch, and then I'll go this way because I want him to think I went up that way. I just think it's more likely that she went and maybe even kind of went along the same trail that she scouted out at some point. But instead of stopping here, you know, maybe she continued on up somewhere, up in there, you know, somewhere up here, farther away. I think this is going to take where, I mean, I don't know how this works. Are these all trees here or what's going on? It's hard to... She could have just walked way up here somewhere. Hell, even at the top of this hill up here, somewhere like that. And just looked down over the valley, as I said 2 nights ago. And just said, got a nice look at something, and then took these meds and passed away somewhere. You know, she could easily be up there. I hope it's some crazy story, you know. I always use the same story, you know, the only story that we've ever done that turned out to be so crazy that you wouldn't even have thought of it was that one, again, back to the 18-year-old Hispanic, I think they were immigrants, and she was pregnant, and her husband was like, you know, 30-something, you know, so I was thinking, then she disappeared, and then there was this, you see her walking away on camera. So I thought, man, maybe the baby's somebody else's, and she just took off, you know? And then a few days later, they find a baby on top of a garbage can in the city. And everybody's like, oh my God, that's her baby. But it wasn't. I mean, it's like, because she was 9 months pregnant, like she was just about to give birth. So everybody thought that was her baby on top of a garbage can, but it wasn't. And then it turned out that the lady actually went on Facebook to try to get a crib or a stroller, a crib or a stroller, don't remember. And then she went over to the house to get the crib. And what happened was when she was sitting there in the living room, this lady came up from behind her and strangled her to death and then cut the baby out of her stomach because she wanted to pretend it was her baby And then she went to the hospital. Oh, here's my baby. And the baby died, and the mom died. And, it was just the shittiest story I've ever heard of. But would anybody predict that one? And the answer is hell no. That one was just one in a million other types of stories. One in a million. Yeah. I don't know if anybody even heard what I just said, because you're all talking about something else. Let's see. I don't want a link right now. I just want to cover this. Thanks. Yeah, that case was nuts. It almost seems like people aren't listening, though, when I'm talking, because when I'm finished telling the story, you guys are all talking about what you had for breakfast, Let's try to do, like, that was a crazy case. You hardly ever get ones like that. Let's see. Yeah, well, the no dog hits. Dogs they're not as accurate as people say they are. You guys remember that one case of the girl on the military base where they kind of knew where she was, and the scent dogs walked over her body like 4 times, didn't find her at all. And then it was like Tim Miller went back there another time, and now, there she is, without the dogs. Because all indications showed that that's where she was her body. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen the Vegas one. I don't know what it is. That one, I think she's just the Las Vegas, the Australian woman. I just think it seemed like she was kind of an escort person, to be honest with you. And so I don't know what happened to her after that, but she's in kind of crazy places. I just read about it for a little bit. Didn't seem, I don't know, I wasn't that interested in it. I don't think it's, well, that was a long time ago when I told the 1 in a million case. That was like 20 minutes, 5 minutes ago. So there you have it. All right. So who's calling in then? Let's get the phone. Maybe I can go back to my other screen. Is it this one? Yeah, that one right there. See that? We can do the call in, or do you want to call in Bengal Cat Chili? I can go ahead and put I can put the link in here. Anybody can call in, though. All right, here's the StreamYard link. You guys probably can't hear any music or anything. Now you can, and now you can't.
Call from
Cecil.
What's going on? Timothy Cecil.
Hey, what's up?
That's
man?
not his real name, everybody told us the other night. Yeah, well,
Allegedly, Timothy. No, actually is my real name though. But,
I know.
Yeah, Jason wanted me to call in first, so I'll call in real quick. Make it pretty quick.
Why does it matter that he wanted you to call? Why don't you just call in if you feel like calling in?
No, I do. I know.
Yeah.
I wanted to call in, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He wanted me to also. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I think you got a pretty good read on this case. To me, it feels kind of obvious. Well, I wouldn't say it's obvious, but I mean, it is with everything that with the messages and everything. It just really seems like she just went there and took her life in the park, and they just haven't found her yet. But I'm sure they will.
Yeah, and she probably didn't just stop, she probably just kept walking. She's probably way farther away. maybe she thought about stuff for a while. Kind of sad. But I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, I think
up here somewhere.
I think that's why she was walking slowly, or some. I wonder if she had started to take something.
Well, no, the walking slowly one. That's a different date. That little track right there, the red track. That's from March 30th.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how long before? Oh, that's okay. That's a pretty long ways before. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like 3 months.
I was gonna say maybe she was scouting out.
Yeah.
That area.
I think that's a good thing. That maybe, or either that, or she was like, I really like that place that I walked at one time, and then went back up there, and she kind of was heading right towards the same starting point when she cut through the woods there. I mean, right where her watch pinged, it sort of starts heading up to right where the start of the path that she took on in March was.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting case, though. Like, but it really does seem like she, the way it was designed. Like, she made sure her child was taken care of. Then she went to the casino. Like that's something that you would do if you're like, if you knew like you were going to end your life. You go there as like a one last kind of thing, like you said that already. But and then you go out there. I wonder if she's RN in the emergency room, so I bet she probably took something from there, but because you'd have access to everything in there, like some powerful drugs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even fentanyl.
Yeah, I mean, she could have got anything out of there.
And then you just go out there and do it. But really sad, man, when people do that, but or they get to that point, but
yeah,
it sucks.
I mean, hopefully it's one of the outlier weird scenarios, Maybe it's one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything happened to her. I don't think there was anyone out there or anything like that. I don't think that someone else was there or anything. I don't think there's anyone else involved.
You can't rule out mountain lions. Don't forget that.
Well, see, the thing is, like, so I mean, mountain lions they like to stalk like I don't. It just doesn't make sense to me because usually they like to stalk people and then they would like have dragged her away. Like there's mountain lion attacks in Colorado, and it's like the people get attacked, and then there's like a whole trail of stuff because like they get hurt, and then there's blood, and there's drag marks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just feel like they would have found her if that happened. And then they usually don't they don't like vulture like dead people. So if she was dead out there, they don't really like to mess with like carcasses and stuff. I don't know. I don't think that's what happened, but
yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying though, because like an animal attack has like a lot of evidence there's left behind.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, right where she would have been attacked, right where she was kind of on a path, I mean, it's hard to see. Like the path that she was on they look like there's these really little trails that are out there, and you probably would stay on those, but. Yeah, I mean, she would be attacked pretty close. Maybe she ran away. I just don't think anything... People bring that up every time. Every single time somebody disappears in the woods, they first start wondering about the animals and so forth. But that's so rare. It's like that's right. Even like 1 in a billion. I mean, that's not even... Well, not
a lot of times the animals have to be sick, like, to do that. They're not like the normal lions, or the normal ones. They're like, there's something wrong with them,
Right.
Because they don't usually attack humans. So.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny how that always is a thought. You always see everybody type that in.
Yeah, here too. Here in Colorado too. People disappear. It's like, in the mountains, it's like, it was probably like a mountain lion or bear attack.
I could just see them sipping their coffee. They get up in the morning real quick. They get their sip of coffee and they're looking at their computer and they type in, has anybody thought what kind of wild animals are out there? A little clicking away, just waiting for people to say, wow, that's a great question. Hoping to fill up the post with comments of praise. And it's like, well, it's really not really likely to be an animal.
Right.
Now watch. Let's cut.
Quick,
we're going to cut right to the next scene, and that's what happened. Okay, it's going to be like Gilligan, you can't fly.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. right? That'd be crazy. But just real quick, my last thing. How big is that area? That park area?
Well, I don't know if I can. Let's see.
Or just like, do you have like a guess, maybe? Or,
Well, I do have this thing here that I can draw. I mean, even if I go way out here like this and pretend that was that, like 7,000 square acres, you know.
Okay. Yeah. So that's.
I don't know.
Well, that's not that big. But the thing is, like, people are like, well, they haven't found her yet. It's like, well, I mean, searching the area, people literally will walk around the person. Like, that happens all the time. Like what you were saying. Like, they will, like, walk right around the person without finding them for a while sometimes.
Actually, it's only 1,862 acres for the park. But the woods continue on. So.
Okay, they continue on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you get what I'm saying? Like, people are going to be like, well, why haven't they found her yet? You know, what's going on? It's like, when you search an area, it's not that easy. Plus, literally, a lot of times, like, people walk right around that person without finding them at first, like what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it can take a while. So. Yeah,
that's right. Hopefully,
but yeah,
we get something. We need some answers, but I think it's going to, we need more answers from our friends and family that knew more about what's going on. You know, the fact that she's over there gambling.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah.
You know, and like, you know, it's not, I guess it's not like, what's wrong with, you know, people gamble sometimes, but it's sort of strange that she was gambling for 5 hours ish, maybe, and then goes up to a park and her phone somehow is turned off or not working. And then she leaves the phone in her car and only takes her watch and her keys out of the car with her. You know, but you know, I guess we don't know that if she had a little backpack or something to put stuff in. You know,
I mean, I don't know if there's any evidence she had a gambling problem. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no evidence of that yet. But what
but people would kill themselves sometimes over gambling. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially if it was something you were trying to hide and.
Yeah,
maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I guess that day, I mean, what if she lost a bunch that day that she didn't normally lose, and she wouldn't be and couldn't explain it, then maybe something like that. But I don't know. I think it was more like a. I think it was more like a last hurrah kind of thing. Like, hey, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then one more thing, real quick. The ranger, man. Why are people blaming a park? Like, what is he supposed to do, man? Like, I don't get it. I don't get why the park ranger should have known, or should have been able to locate her car or whatever. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me,
like,
it's just like there are things like that. Like, you know, you might go, "Wow, how come?" For me, it's like that's something a little bit later to talk about. But I guess I did say. The part about when her car drove in, isn't there a system that that little attendant or whoever it was who gave her parking pass, don't they write down her license plate and put it into a system? And if that's the case, you would think the whole state would show up in a system saying, oh yeah, her license showed up over here at this Polymer State Park. Not, you know.
Right, because here in Colorado, that's what they do. Like, you go to a park, they take down your license plate and you get like a pass, and you put the pass in your like in your window, you know. Yeah. And then that you're good, you know.
Because I was actually thinking that's how they knew that she was there, but it turns out it was actually the watch. I mean, it was just the watch that the family somehow they you know. I just got Cindy sent me a message saying that a family member said that they got her an old phone of hers and turned it on, and then it showed where her watch last pinged, and then they went up there. But then I was thinking, well, how the hell do they know what the password is to the old phone? That's pretty good detective kind of work, though. That's a pretty good thing.
Right. Mm-hmm. But you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think it's different in different states, but it's still not his fault. I mean, obviously. But all right, man. Well, I look forward to getting some answers from this case. So I'll let you go. let somebody else call in. So thanks for chatting. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, have a good one. See you later. Bye-bye.
All right, see you.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Who's mutt? What are you guys talking about up there? What mutt? You mean that idiot Jay Case? That guy? I don't give a shit. That guy's an idiot. Let's see. Where do these people come from? They type in such crazy things. They don't even make sense. You just look at them and go, what? Are you guys still here? Are you still there? Chris O'Connell, and you guys just came in and supported the channel and took off. I don't see any of you guys. Phyllis Watson. Now they created 5 accounts tonight. Yeah. Great. What a bunch of losers. Yeah, we just went through all the new information. Fox 5, were you not paying attention? There was a bunch of stuff that was put out today that's different. A little more specific information about different things. Yeah, you're getting trolled on the call. I'm not sure who the mutt, what they're talking about. No idea. I didn't send anybody anywhere either. Okay, well, you're just going to have to hit the rewind button there, Fox 5. Watch the very beginning. You'll get to hear the whole thing. Well, who's calling in next? Oh, there you are. Thanks for still being here. Appreciate it. Yeah, anybody can call in with their thoughts and ideas.
Call from James, aka Jason Bourne.
Hello, how's it going?
Going great. How you doing tonight?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Well, that was just some incredible coverage that I just watched, and to see you go over everything in such great detail. I hope some of the family watches this channel so that they can see what's going on here. That the amount of effort that you're putting in, and But I do think that there's something going on where the family knows more than what is being publicly. You agree with that?
Yeah, that's why I actually said that earlier too. Yeah, I think it's like they. What was that one part was kind of strange where they wanted to leave the car there to see if she came back to it, but yeah, it just seems like they know something. I can't remember what the thing was that triggered me to say that earlier, but there was something that popped up in one of the articles or something.
Was it the gambling part that they may have conveyed information about what she was doing at the casino, and that they know information that was, indicative of financial things that maybe they don't want out there, because that would be, like I'm just saying, if she lost a bunch of money, that, that would be something that may have contributed to, self-harm.
Yeah, or maybe it was the way they said that she was just out there using reward points, I mean, why not just say she was gambling, because that one message said that she was what was the one thing that said that we don't know if she won a lot of money. Okay, well, that means you're admitting to us that she was gambling, right? You just don't know if she won a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw in the chat that someone had mentioned gambling addiction, and that I just, if you have reward points, does that mean that you would have acquired those because you previously, were gambling? Is that how you got your reward points?
Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier. Yeah, like she probably goes there. I think you can get reward points from gambling, eating, hotel room, just anything that you spend over there at the Hera. Phil said, last hurrah at Hera's. That's how I look at it. I mean, I bet you she gambled sometimes too. I mean, she could have been a regular gambler because it seems like reward points, if they work like any other reward points, like if you spend 10 grand, you might get $100, right? It's not like,
sure.
Oh, it's, I spend 5,000, I get 3,000 to go gamble next week. Hell, I'd just get the chips and cash them in if that was the case. But it's just crazy, Like if you were one of those people, wouldn't you do that? Like, oh, let's see, if I spend 5,000 and they give me 3,000 as chips, wouldn't you just keep it if that was you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would just get the chips
but
from them.
I back into my parking spaces too. Did you catch that, Gray?
Which part? Well, somebody just typed something in about. Yeah, say it again.
I said I back into my parking spaces too.
Oh, jeez. You take that extra time to back in, like you pull out and look back, and
Well, it depends. It depends what the situation is.
I pull through. I'll do that. I'll pull.
Well, I always pull through. But usually I will back in because I know that I'll have to back out when I leave. And I don't want to have to back out when I leave. I just want to turn on the car and go.
Yeah.
So it's, what do I want to do first? Do I want to back in first, or do I want to back out last? And usually, and I like the car facing out because let's just say hypothetically, if the battery's gone or something, it's easy to get a jump from somebody, But
now that wouldn't work with that wouldn't work with my friend. There's actually no out. This guy's like a super genius too. He's like I don't know. He's slightly autistic, but he always says that anyways. But he's the world champion foot bagger. He just won he's almost 60 years old, and he won the national championship in hacky sack. I mean, he's like still that good.
That's cool.
It's crazy, but like he's just, and he's just really just super genius type. But he just can't let it go, man. We have this golf trip that we take, and it's like his really good friend. They were talking one time, and he said, he doesn't even, like this guy doesn't even back in. He just supported the argument for people who do, and he wouldn't let him on the next year's trip. It was like, what the? And he really didn't get to go on the next year. It was like, come on. It's just so wild, man.
It's my experience that most people do not back in. Most people pull in. That's, and the women that I've dated almost always pulled in. They didn't back in. That's just been my experience that I've seen, you know. But anyway, on the case, another thing, so you have brought this up several times, and it's been really interesting to me, and that is the fact that she, just by how you described it, had turned off the phone before she arrived. Before that 420 parking slip was received, you're saying she turned off the phone, right?
Yeah, because they would have known that she was at the park by her phone pinging. So it obviously quit communicating with the tower way before that. I mean, I would think if it started to ping on the way up to the park, they may have thought to check there. So I think she may have turned it off after she left the casino. Or maybe it wasn't even on at the casino. Because maybe you didn't want people to know that you're at the casino.
So here's the thing that I was thinking about today based on what you had said, because it's almost critical to know, is there by chance that phone turned off in some other way other than by her doing it? Could something have happened, blah, blah, blah. Is there some way to know? So I actually went digging around to see in the geofencing part of that, that if they were looking at this ping, would the signal that would come out, would it be any different compared to if someone had just powered down the phone? Or, for example, if it was just sitting on a console and the battery died, would it send a different type of a ping?
Well, I think they know.
Really
know though. I think they can tell those kind of things. We just
They
know.
can.
We
And
just
so
know.
here-
Yeah, but the thing is I think. Here's the thing: is when she left the casino, who doesn't check their phone at least for a sec? You know, I mean, everybody does these days. So wouldn't she go, "Oh shit, it's dying," and then charge it on the way up to the park? You know,
Well,
that's what a
not
normal
only-
person
it's
would
not-
do.
Yeah, well, and it's not only that, but let's just say the ping comes back, and they're looking at the ping, and they're like, okay, well, it's powered down naturally. It looks like somebody actually just powered it down, turned it off, intentionally turned the phone off.
She wants to hide herself.
And so, right, and so now if they told that to the family, if they said, listen, we do have forensics on the ping, and the ping is telling us that she turned off her phone. Now, the family might not want to put that out there because that really does then because now you can't say, oh, well, it could have been the battery just turned off and we don't know. Well, now if you say, well, no, it looks like someone deliberately powered down that phone, now it gets much more difficult to argue for other things. And, for example, let's just say if someone was going through the scenario of that, well, she was going there to meet someone, which is almost like the next one down the chain of far weaker theory, or that someone's in a parking lot waiting for just another theory, right? Yeah. That, well, if this was the case, and it was, let's just say if it was an affair type thing, or if it was a predatory thing, that wasn't an affair, that was a stranger, but either one of those scenarios, well, if it was a predatory thing, she wouldn't have known that she was going to be encountering that situation, so she wouldn't have powered down her phone beforehand.
Well, no. I actually think you would because you don't want anybody to track where you were. Well,
I agree, but I'm saying that for a predator situation, that if you weren't going there,
right.
If you were going there,
if you're going there naturally to go hiking.
Yeah,
right.
That's what my point is. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then not only that, but if you were going there to meet somebody, like an affair type situation, well, now let's think about this. It would be somebody that she would trust, would be somebody that she supposedly would be romantic with. She wouldn't have a reason necessarily to fear for her life, and she wouldn't have necessarily a reason to think, oh, well, they're going to be geofencing my phone to find out where I'm going, and so I need to power down my phone because I'm going to go meet this person.
I think you might. See, that's the thing. That's why that one still has an option. Because I think you might still do that because your husband might be like, well, what the hell were you doing up at that park? And then you could just say, well, I was hiking again. Well, right before you work? That's crazy, right? So I still think you might do that, but the part about and then I guess you would still leave your phone in your car, right? Because you're gonna go walk off into the woods with this guy, right? Well, if in that scenario, let's say you meet some guy there, you don't want anybody to even know that you're at the park, so you would turn off your phone, and then you would walk. You're sort of walking with that person, but would you leave? Everything that you left in the car, is that normal to do in a situation like that? You only have your watch and your keys, not some, wouldn't you maybe want to have wouldn't you want to just have your phone with you in case something happened? Then you cycle it back on and, I don't know.
That's another thing that I was checking on today because I want, where I live in the area, there are state areas of land where there's absolutely no reception at all. And so I wanted to find out if that whole area has full reception. So if you went in there with a cell phone, theoretically, if you needed to use it, could you? And what I got back was that there's huge areas of no reception at all. And I don't know if all of that's true. I'm just saying this is what I saw online that, now, but this is a question I want to ask. If we get a ping off of that Apple Watch, then is the inference that there is at least reception in that area?
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, at the beginning of the show, I randomly, within 3 seconds, found a cell tower right at the high peak. That isn't even that far away. It's the cell tower from, let's see, I'll just measure it really quick.
And I missed that part, so I'm glad you're telling me.
Yeah, let's see, it was, that cell tower is 1.16 miles from where she parked her car. But there is sort of a hill there, kind of. So, it's possible that the hill might block. Just looking at the angle there, a little bit. But I think you'd still be able to get some reception because it's at the top of a hill, even though there's a sort of a little hill that semi blocks the area. If you look at it like this. It does kind of block the area. There's a hill there, and then it kind of goes down again. So I think you'd still be able to get reception there somehow. And there might be another tower somewhere around, too, that I'm not noticing,
That's a good point. Yeah. So, when I'm looking at the whole thing, and I'm thinking the other two scenarios, which is she was there to meet someone, or she went there to meet someone, or that there was a stranger in the parking lot. When I look at those, and then I think, okay, well, how do I square that up with the ping with the Apple Watch? Because that's not in the parking lot. And this is a question I wanted to ask just to make sure that I'm understanding. So when you put that coordinate in, and it zeroed into that particular location, there's no, it could be off by 100 feet or anything like that, right? That is the precise spot, right? I'm just saying that that's not like a range that it gives for the number.
I don't know if they can be. I don't know how they do it, by the way, where they get this precise location off of when they ping a watch or something. I think it's just satellite, So they didn't ping any. We get sort of stuck on ping stuff. But when you have a watch on, it literally has the GPS coordinates. As you're walking, each location that you go to, there's another, every 10 feet or so, or 10 seconds, I think it keeps track of your ping location, and then it sort of can fill in a line and draw it as you're walking. I actually have a program on my phone. It's so cool. I got it 10 years ago, and it still works. You just turn it on, and it starts finding all the satellites, and then you hit, you don't even have to have a cell plan to use it. So you hit record, and then you can spend the whole day doing whatever the hell you're doing. Even go up in an airplane if you still had it on, and then by the time you were done, it would show you every single place. You could actually download the KML file and upload it into Google Earth, and it'll show you exactly where you walked around, and then it'll, even when you're on the plane, it'll go high up in the air and then go across, and it's it's ridiculous.
That's interesting.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
So I think that's the same way as these walking apps. That's how they can tell how far you walked. It goes, oh, you walked 3.7 miles. Well, how the hell do you know that? Well, the reason they know that is they keep track of your GPS coordinates as you're moving, and then just sort of add up the numbers. Now, they don't just go, oh, we took 12 steps, so that is 12 yards. They don't do it like that. It's literally the distance that you went.
So one thing I was thinking about, going with the main theory, the best theory by far, that, she is still out there, and that, there unfortunately probably was some self-harm involved, that if that is the case, that, I was thinking that, so she pulls in there, and she already knows what she's going to do. She probably pretty much knows that that's what she pretty much thinks that I'm going to go out there, and if it feels right, I'm going to do it, or this is my plan, and I am going to do it. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, she already knows that all the things that she has left in her car, somebody else is going to find. Somebody else is eventually going to know that she's missing. You would think that being emergency room nurse, she would put it together in her mind that rangers likely check the park at dusk, would see a car there, And, the next morning, if that car was still there and it didn't have like a overnight camping sticker on it, because, there's an overflow that they use so they can distinguish these different vehicles, So if you're assigned to a campsite and maybe you got two vehicles there and it doesn't fit, so you say, okay, I'll go put it in the overflow parking lot. Well, you got this little sticker in there that will say that, okay, you're part of the parking area, the campsite, so you're okay here. Yeah. But if you don't have that and you just have the day thing that's available, then if somebody was just walking by, just, doing a walk check, that they would look at that and they'd say, oh, well, okay, this person has a day sticker and it's dusk here and they know they're supposed to be gone and they're still here.
Yeah, but we talked, well, here's the thing is we talked about this at the beginning of the show, and it's like, what relevance, for me, it's just, that's something you talk about later after you find somebody, and go, hey man, you would think somebody would have seen that car there and did something. But in reality, it doesn't, it doesn't have any bearing on anything. It's just sort of like, oh man, it's sort of like saying, why did Abby and Libby grandparents let them walk on the trail? It's like, well, I mean, who knows? Well,
it may have a bearing because of the fact that if you think about the ping of the Apple Watch, and so if we're thinking, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to hop in her mind and say, okay, I'm getting ready to go and do something where I'm going to be no longer alive. And so she's got the Apple Watch on her, you would think, right? And she's got it in her mind that she's thinking, okay, it's either one of two things. Either she forgets that she's got it on, and so she realizes after she gets in there, I have to take this off or it's going to lead right to me. So I have to disable it, or she thinks, I'll take it in this far, and there will be a ping out here, so they get a clue that I left the vehicle, I left the parking lot.
And I thought, if she did that, she could have been doing it as like I said earlier, like it'd be kind of really bizarre if she was using that as a head fake to go, hey, this is where I'm making it look like I went into the woods, but I really went back this way. That would be crazy if she did something like that, like really thought through it like that,
Well, I can't see her, so she's about ready to put everybody in her family through a lot of grief if this is what happened. And so you would think to yourself, does she really want to make them search hard for her body and work really hard and, have all these things that put out, questions about what really happened? And I mean, someone could say like, well, she could have left a note and that would have given indication, but even just the ping alone, if she would have intentionally just let that out there to kind of like, because she would have been smart enough to know that people would have been saying, well, do we have any, digital signature? And all you'd need is a hint in the woods that would say like, she got off the parking lot, she got off into the woods. If she wanted to make it.
This is why I always tell people, I think I don't know if this is what she did, but if she took her own life, it's just so selfish, It really is. I know it makes them feel better and like, maybe they're miserable and whatever. But like, let's say they walked up somewhere and, they're way over there somewhere and they're not found. That means their entire family, for however long it takes, where she ever pops up, has to sit there in misery and wonder. See, I think it's less selfish to have pulled up in her car there and did something right there in the car, and then people at least can say goodbye and realize what happened. They don't have to spend the rest of their life wondering. So it's just kind of like, it's just sort of a weird thing. It's like you walk away. I can see doing something like that if you're a single person and you're not with anybody, but if you have kids and a husband and friends and all these people, that's where it gets kind of weird to make it so that nobody can find you,
Right. So if she wanted to walk a really long ways and make it difficult for people to find her, that doesn't, to me, ring right with somebody who's an ER nurse, who's a compassionate, caring person, cares about people, and cares about making sure that someone lives, that you have to, when you're dealing in those kind of settings with humans that, could die on you, it really takes a kind of mindset that is a caring person. And I know because I've dated 2 ER nurses, actually, and they're very similar, and they're very caring people. And so I just think that, I guess one of my thoughts is that rather than going way out there, I'm wondering if she's really close and they just overlooked her. And she's closer than what people think, and that she's actually not far away.
And maybe she's just sort of just off their grid, like maybe she comes over here and goes this way, and she's sort of down in this valley somewhere, because this is kind of a cool place. Like right in here, you can sort of look out back towards home. As a matter of fact, that's crazy. Look at that. Wow, that's weird. That's kind of a weird. Let me just before we. I just want to. Sure. That was so interesting. Mm-hmm. I just sort of guessed, but like when you go to this, when you're at that park, and you go down this little area here, and you're just sort of right here in this valley, you can see her house. That's the craziest thing ever.
That's wild.
Yeah, because you zoom in, and I think it was, where was it? It was just right over. That was right there, so you could. Let me go back out there again one more time. It was right here, and so there it is right there. Yeah, so you're like right down in here, and then this whole valley you can see her home, basically. I think it's right there, right in front of it, right there. Boom. Yeah, that's absolutely nuts, and the front of the house even. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. Because you'd be thinking in your mind, this person who's, this compassionate, caring person who's helped people live through life-threatening procedures, right? And now she's going to go and do something to her, this in theory, she's going to go and do something to her life, to herself. Is she really going to put her family through, a long, arduous search and, oh my gosh, and deliberately make herself hidden? And why would you do that? Why would you punish your family like that? And you can tell her family are close by the vigils that have been happening. And so I just wonder if she's much closer and they just have, overlooked her somehow. Yeah. And if let's just say if it's down at the narrow part of the grid where she's just off to the right or the left. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't really have to step off far if you're in a certain
this
part
right here
grid.
is just like from the campground. Let's see. In this purple area that I just drew, that's only, let's just put it in the middle there. It's only 2 miles just to the center of the purple area that I just drew. And from inside of that purple area, you can literally see her home. Like if you went up to one of these little ridges over here, just sort of sat there maybe, and I don't know. Like at the edge of one of the hills. That's pretty.
Does that face a sunset? Does that face a sunset?
I think it sort of faces like kind of west, basically.
Well, that would then.
Yeah.
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 So,
isn't that interesting?
It is very, very interesting. Yeah, and I wonder how much that's been searched over there.
I don't know.
I mean, she would have probably. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to see if there was any, like, what do you call it? When people, like the street view that's really
detailed.
Well, there's people that have the 360-degree cameras and they take images anywhere, and they put them.
I just can't
in places
so
you can actually see what things look like. Even at this park, there's little 360-degree camera shots of a lot of the different trails, so you can get a good feeling of what it looks like out there.
Well, one of the other things that I was considering too is that, and I'm just saying because you go through these thought processes, like rattlesnake bite and mauling and those kind of things, and I just think that scent would have been really close to the trail, and she would have been really close to the trail, and they would have found her if she'd have been that close. So, but I don't think she's that far off the trail, Gray. I bet you that if she's found out there, I bet you she's within 100 yards of a trail.
And she probably did it like, here's what, this is kind of stupid analogy, but I remember when it was my brother's 21st birthday in Eugene, Oregon. And by the way, at that time, he'd learned Norwegian so well that he spoke it with an accent that they knew where he lived in Norway. Yeah, it was like the craziest thing ever. Like, we went into a bar and he was just, he was just rambling away with these Norwegians, and they actually thought he was from there. And then when he told them, "Oh, I just learned it," and they were just freaked out, all of them, because he completely immersed himself. He didn't speak English at all when he was there. He couldn't speak English when he came back. But anyways, it was his 21st birthday, and he drank a lot, and then he walked. Like, I was like, "Grant, where are you?" You know, I was yelling his name, and it turns out that he was like behind a tree perpendicular to my view. Like, he literally laid down, because he drank so much that he laid down like on like it was only about 50 feet away, but he laid down perpendicular to the deck that we were sitting on the bar, and we couldn't see him. It was so crazy. So, I mean, it could be something that's like he literally placed himself intentionally so that he couldn't be seen by other people. And it worked. So, I mean, in this case, she could have done something where she just sort of walked out and then went in a specific place behind some trees, and people just kind of looked over there, but maybe didn't walk over there, you know?
Yeah, I think, well, the other thing, too, that I did, because you did the same thing earlier, and that was, I first want to know, well, what is the acreage of the park? Once I found that out, I thought, okay, well, if this was squared, just to give me an idea how much it is, how big it is, it came up to less than 2 miles by 2 miles if you squared it. So that's small. That's small. That's a small area, 2 miles by 2 miles. And so what it tells me is that she could easily step out of that 2 mile, like wouldn't be a lot of effort for her to be close to that perimeter, but nearby, in an area that haven't you heard of crime scenes before where they looked all over for somebody and then they found out that, they actually were there, but they were in an area nobody else had looked because they didn't think to look that close by? Have you heard of situations like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's been cases where there was, I think I can't remember the name of the kid that was in the chimney inside of a home right across the street. He went into a chimney and he got stuck in the wall and he passed away in there. I mean, I can't think of a more miserable. Everybody was blaming the parents, and the parents killed him. They did something, and they found. I think it was like Haley or what the hell was his name? Yeah, Harley. There you go. Jessica just typed in. His name was Harley. It was kind of an interesting case. We were all just kind of, wow. You see him on surveillance walking, and apparently he climbed up onto the roof, went inside of a chimney or something, and then. I don't remember if he got stuck in the chimney. It seemed like it was like the chimney doesn't work the way you would think a chimney would work, and kind of got stuck up in there. And he couldn't get out. And then
What a grisly way to go.
I know, that means you were just alive sitting there for days and days. It sucked.
Screaming till you couldn't scream anymore, yeah. Well, so I do think that, unfortunately, very sad thing. I mean, just the turning off of the phone and the powering it down, which, I don't know for sure that she powered it down, and it could have went off by, the battery. But like you said, I think you said it, that she would have made sure that was powered up. So there would have been no way that the battery would have died, en route, or you're not going to have your battery running low necessarily when you're running around.
Well, that's when people say, well, maybe she didn't have her charger with her, and then it's like, see, and that's the thing, it's like everybody tries to keep going down and down to try to make something else be the reality. That's how cases work, but I think it's very unlikely that she didn't have her charger with her in her car, But
they know what kind of ping came off of that tower. They know what kind of ping came. So when that phone was working, when she went over there to the casino and had the phone on, and that thing was pinging back and forth off the tower, wherever that was, and then she worked her way up the highway when she left to go toward the, park, that if it was pinging along the way, they would know all those towers that got pinged right along every little path that she went until the last tower that took the ping. And then they'd be able to look at that ping and they'd say, aha, look at this. It has the handshake. It has the handshake signal. This is the normal shutdown that a cell phone would go through if it's powered down naturally.
Yeah, well, the Koberger case had that. That's why earlier I said, that's why I said I think they can, because I remember that in the Koberger case, and then Phil said it also in the chat too, that that's what they were able to determine, that he powered it off, that it wasn't, it didn't die or anything. And he also put it in all the different modes. He made sure that it wasn't just that. He made sure the GPS wasn't doing anything. I turned off every single element so that the phone was basically like a brick. You know?
Yeah, and the other thing too is that I think that they have the police, the investigators, have a pretty good handle on things enough to say that, okay, we're certain at this point that there's no evidence of foul play. And so to come out and say that is basically saying that we didn't see her doing anything in the casino that involves someone else that would be suspicious.
Her. Nobody following her. We didn't see anybody else checking at the park. That seems suspicious or anything.
Yep. So that all points again to this thing that she got there. She arrived with the intent, unfortunately, I hope not, but to do self-harm. And but I just can't see that she would go a long way, because why would you do that to your family? Why would you? There'd be no reason, and there's no indication that there was rough edges with the family that I've heard anyway. I mean, I know they could be hiding things, but I just... I know she was capable of going a long distance as a marathon runner. She had those abilities and everything, but then that your family would never really, because if you went outside of that perimeter, outside of the park, so to speak, and you thought to yourself, well, they're going to be looking for me inside the park, I already left them a ping, well, then why would you go far away from that ping, which is the kind of the clue that you may have left so that they know where you went?
It's interesting that it quit pinging right there, almost as if she realized, oh shit, maybe this thing will, and she didn't want it to. Do you think? But she'd have to turn off the watch, I guess.
Right. So do you think? Here's the thing: do you think that she kind of forgot that she had it on, and she thought, oh, that's right, I got to take this off, because if I'm going to go in here and I don't want a trail that leads exactly to where I am, then I have to, make sure I don't have this on me. Or the other part is that she thought, okay, I know they're going to find my car here, and I know they're going to wonder, did somebody take me? And I have to let them know that this was not what happened here, and what happened is that I left a signal up in these woods to let them know that I left this parking lot. Somebody didn't pick me up here and take me. I literally left off this parking lot and went in the woods. And so now you've got a path. Now you've got a clue. So which do you think is more likely? That she accidentally took the watch and, oh my gosh, I've got it on me and I want to turn it off? Or do you think that she did it on purpose?
Well, I would say this. If she did it on purpose, how come it didn't keep sending signals and lead right to her? Why would she just give somebody a clue, Why not walk?
It is a great question, right? Because you'd think, like, well, wouldn't if you don't want somebody to go on a wild goose chase, wouldn't you let the signal go right to you? Why would you give them a partial clue?
Yeah,
right, yeah.
See, it's like, oh, well, hey, guys, I started walking this way. I am 7 miles over there, but yeah, go ahead and I just it's kind of dumbfounding some of the information, but it does seem like all of it together. Seems like she... I think we can say this, that she went to the park and intentionally didn't want people to know that she was at that park.
I agree.
But in general, right? But then you got that one ping from the watch, if we want to say that she intentionally... But I think the rest of it just sort of seems like... I think that was an accident. Most people don't realize that their phone... And by the way, let's look at it like this. It's not like ping information. it was just pure, like, kind of genius sleuthing by the family that this came up. She knew that, okay, her phone is off, and her phone is what would tell people where her watch would have pinged, or, not pinged, we keep using that, but it would have the satellite GPS information on it. But they didn't find her for 3 days because they actually had to go and, according to something that screenshot Cindy sent me, they had to go to her house and get an old phone of hers, turn it on, and then open up that app, and then it showed that her phone pinged there. And see, that, to me, it means, I think most of the time you're sort of safe of somebody not knowing where you are with your watch unless they have your phone. She turned hers off, and I don't know if other people had her password or something like that, but it's not like, I don't think she even thought of that. Now, the reason it didn't keep pinging, I don't know. Is that because it got dense forest really quick? Because as soon as she left that trail, she's right in the middle of the woods, and maybe that made it harder to get through the trees. Because I know that when I'm driving in Oregon through the woods, my satellite radio doesn't work at all. It still tracks my car movement, which I always think is interesting how it does that. But so I don't know. I don't think she thought about that.
So that communication to the satellite from the Apple Watch. Now, I agree. It sounds most logical that she would just overlook that and then remember right at the moment that, okay, I got this watch on, and I need to make sure this watch is removed. And it would make sense that she would remove the watch because she didn't want anyone to know that she was there in the park in the first place. So she's just going a secondary step by, now I'm removing the watch. I forgot that it was on me. Now that I take that off. So, I mean, that makes sense, but here's the thing is, so if she powers it down, and she does it naturally. And then what I mean is, like, it would be unnatural if you went and placed it on a stump and got a rock and you smashed it.
Yeah, you're talking about the watch right now?
Yep, I am, yep. So that that communication that comes off of that watch, does that in itself have a certain data in it that indicates that the watch was powered down naturally? Because if it was,
I don't know if watches do. I know cell phone did in Koberger's case, but I don't know if a watch. Mm-hmm. I mean, they might be able to find something, but I think it's different because all it's really doing is communicating GPS coordinates. I don't know if it says. I mean, I don't know. I guess. I guess we could look it up. I could try. Let's see. Let's try. Let's do the Chat GPT.
Right on.
If I have an Apple Watch and I power it down, can investigators tell if I powered it down manually or smashed the watch or it died?
Great question.
Without having the watch in their possession.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Let's see what it says. I kind of don't think it can. Let's see.
I'd be surprised. It's a long shot.
I'm checking this. What evidence exists outside the watch itself? Paired iPhone logs, iCloud, my and carrier records. It's actually telling me what it's looking for. It's still checking. Yeah, you can tell this one's going to be a tough one for it because it's still searching around.
Compound question. Yeah, so, but everything I just think she's not far, Gray. I don't think she would, I don't see a reason why she would go far. In fact, I think the area that you pointed out that's facing her home.
It's kind of interesting.
If they haven't
Wait, hold on a second.
Without possessing the Apple Watch, investigate
in that area, or they haven't looked closely. But I'm willing to, I don't know. I just get a feeling that she's less than 2 miles away.
All right, let me read this. It said, without possessing the Apple Watch, investigators could usually determine approximately when it stopped communicating, but probably could not conclusively determine why. So there you go. Okay, and it says,
Aha. Okay.
manually powered down, a normal shutdown may create an orderly shutdown entry in Watch OS diagnostic or system logs. However, the most useful logs would ordinarily be stored on the watch itself. Some diagnostic information may have been transmitted. I mean, basically that thing we read up above is their answer. So,
right.
So there you go. I mean, I just think she had it on, and I don't know. The woods get really thick there. It seems like it's strange that it wouldn't pick up another time, though. You know.
Right. Exactly. Because when she came back into a reception area.
Yeah.
Which she would have, presumably.
Possibly. Well, I guess if she's really close to there, she could be right in the woods. Yeah, there's been many cases.
There, I would love to have that same Apple Watch and then just start doing experiments with it. Like, okay, we're going to walk this way, and then we're going to measure where our pings go and find out if we have losses of reception, and and start dialing it in that way, because I think it was manually turned off.
Yeah, if she manually turned it off, then she really just didn't want anybody to even know that she was up there. At least she probably knew that they would find where her car is at some point. And they did. It took 3 days. That's amazing. And so she's, at that point, she's giving me a clue where she went in. So yes, if you thought that maybe she isn't, if she's not going to want her family to suffer very much, she wouldn't have gone very far. Oh, the part that I have over here is 2 miles. That looks kind of down the valley towards her home. That's, it's an interesting spot because it's very wooded, and it's a valley that faces right towards her home. All the rest of this stuff, and she may have gone even, up in that general area at some point, because her hike is almost right there. She would just kind of go up this little clearing over here, and then you're sort of, almost right inside of that. You could be, right at the top of that. That's crazy. Yeah, so even here's a good spot, really. I mean, let's see.
Yeah, I wonder how much they went off of that perimeter.
Yeah.
If they just stuck to that perimeter, and I mean, you would think people would be thinking outside of the box, that we have to move outside of this, and I mean, because really what I would be doing is I would be thinking about the park as the dimensions of the park to create my perimeter. What I would be thinking about a perimeter of is like, okay, we know where the last known ping or the communication happened, so let's just draw out a circle from here, and that's our perimeter, and if we'll search that perimeter, and then we'll go out a farther circle from that, and so we're not confined to the areas of the park.
They need to get like 500 people and go in and they're sort of all within about 10 yards of each other, and they just walk in directions, even if it's up. So yeah, you get 500 people that are in good shape, and that's kind of what they do, and you just kind of go in different directions, just zigzag back and forth and really cover the entire place. Yeah, maybe not 500, but maybe like 100. I mean, 500 would be amazing, right? I mean, you need a lot of people to do this, because you got to be on the ground and looking. Now, they say, the dogs didn't hit on any scent. But that doesn't mean anything, man. I'm just telling you. Somebody has shoes on, they're not touching a lot of stuff, they go through there. They don't necessarily get a scent, especially 3 days later. A scent in the air, wind's blowing around. Yeah, if they'd been there like 4 hours after she went, maybe the dog might be able to track something, but it doesn't mean anything.
And do you know if, and I mean, this is just an obscure question, but do you know if any rain occurred in the park between the period of the 6th of July and July 9th when the car was found?
I don't know.
Or when they went out there? Okay. just because the rain would have killed the scent. You know what I mean? It would have, so it made it, not killed it, would have made it much difficult for the animals to pick up on things, you know, especially if it was a good hard rain. So, but yeah, I agree with you there that they're not a fail-safe thing that you can't say to yourself, oh, well, they didn't detect a scent, so that means that she didn't leave the parking lot.
The answer is no to your question. I just looked it up.
Okay.
It didn't rain.
There was no rain.
But even then, you know, the scent thing works really well if you've, I don't know. Like if the dogs are there pretty quick, you have, it's just hard to see that you're going to get a good scent off of just shoes hitting the ground. You know, you'd have to be like the scent of her is in the air is how the dog would be searching. And it just seems like, you know, yeah, it's kind of weird because it makes it seem like she's really far away then. You know, she walks so far away that these dogs that are trying to get a scent in this area just aren't going to get anything. But we don't know all of that, you know.
Or where they brought the dogs. You know, I'm just saying, like, so if you look at where she was at and you look at the closest area that she could have went in the direction from there that would have been outside of the perimeter of the park. Mm-hmm. I mean, did they bring the dogs over there to see if they got a hit over there in that area?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, because if you're not looking in the right area with the dogs, then they're not going to get any hits.
I would have thought they would have gone, I'm sure they started where her watch pinged, or not pinged, but the satellite hit. You know, you think they started there, and she was there at some point, right? So, but it doesn't really. I mean, 3 days later, come on. I mean, I don't think you're going to get a scent of just a human that's alive walking around.
And I think your other point too, you know, because at first the keys to me meant something, but after I really thought about it, they really don't mean anything because you can't draw an inference either way. Whether somebody would have thought, okay, someone's going to find my car, and if I lock my car and they have to get inside, they're going to have to use some device or break the window to get inside to find out my things, and so. Do I leave my keys in the car? Do I lock it? Because if I leave my keys in the car, am I giving them some kind of hit by leaving those keys? Or if I take the keys and
I actually don't think she even thought of. I know, I get it, but the keys aren't one that I'm going to overthink at all. Because to me, it's just all right. I'm locking my stuff in the car. I'm leaving my phone. I don't want anybody to know where I'm going. And you just lock the car and you walk away and your keys are in your pocket. It's not like you're not overthinking the keys because the keys are not traceable. It doesn't matter if they're with you or anything. It just makes it look like you went walking on a hike. You know, you went somewhere and that's it. You know, so it's not, I don't think there was any overthinking on the keys on her part.
You know, they aren't relevant to me because, I mean, for example, if she left the keys on a top of a front tire, you know, so that somebody could get inside the vehicle, well, then the keys are relevant. But if the keys are inside the vehicle and the vehicle is locked, or she takes the keys with her, somebody still can't get in the vehicle. Whether you got the keys with you or whether the keys are locked inside the vehicle, that's still not going to help. So it's not going to be determinative. I mean, you're still not going to get in the vehicle, is my point.
Well, sometimes I think if you have the newer kind of cars, it's hard to lock your keys in the car. Because when you put the key in there, I don't know if there's a way to just sort of manually... Like my Subaru, I don't think you can... Like if the keys are in there, I don't think I can actually even lock the damn thing. Now that I think about it.
Wow.
Because I think there's
I did not know that technology.
I think... Well, I mean, it's like this thing is like if I have it with me... It's in my pocket. I just open the door and start the car. I don't even have to do anything. Yeah. So I think it's like that. Yeah. I haven't really tried it yet because I don't really want to. But I mean, I think I could, maybe if I hit the lock button and shut it, I don't know what it would do if it knew that your keys were sitting inside the car, you know. I think you're still, it's close enough where I can open it because I'm still close to the keys. Yeah. That might be what the deal is.
Well, didn't you say it's like a 2023 vehicle that she's got? Something like that?
Well, I think hers was more like 2020 based on that, some of what I was looking at, but I don't know for certain.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I definitely am on the same page with you. After looking at all of this, I just feel that sadly, the evidence is pointing to self-harm. I just, you think about somebody who has a family, has 2 children, 12-year-old daughter that she dropped off, and you know that if she was planning this, then she would have known that day when she dropped her daughter off that would have been the last time. Now, you don't know it for sure, right? Because maybe she went to the casino and lost really bad and said, okay, now I'm going to go do it, and didn't think that when when she was around her daughter.
Oh, it'd be cool to
you don't
know what she said to the daughter.
Oh, it would. What the reactions were, and if anybody noticed anything, because you would think that with a mother having to say goodbye to her daughter for the last time, and the daughter doesn't know, but the mom does, that it's hard to imagine a mother just acting normally in that situation. Like, okay, I'll so-and-so's picking you up later today, and, and I can't. I would like to have seen how she reacted in that moment.
Yeah.
But didn't you say, Gray, that the people who were around her that day didn't notice anything unusual about her behaviors?
That's what. Well, the friend this friend that she went to the day before said that. I don't know if we've heard of anybody that day, because that day she went to the casino. We don't know anything about any of the people that she talked to when she dropped her kid off, and then she disappeared after the casino to the park. Yeah.
So the other thing I was going on in my mind is that, so if she had said to the friend, or somehow there was a conversation that happened at the daycare where this other person got involved and said, I'll pick up your daughter for you. So there's something that was said there. And the question is that when that was said, had she already communicated to her husband, hey, I'm going to go up there, or did the husband not know? Because if the husband didn't know that she was going up there alone, that is very strange, in my opinion, especially, without her cell phone, and, that's very strange.
Nobody said that he, well, I'll tell you what, if he knew that, they would have found her immediately. They didn't find her for 3 days, so he didn't know.
So he didn't know. So that's strange. Now, if it was the thing that he was led to believe that, I'm going to go to the casino today and I'm going to be there late and whatnot, that then it wouldn't have been a big deal when the person picked the daughter up, and whether that person brought the daughter back to the husband's house or whether brought the daughter back to her own house, meaning, the friends, that, the husband wouldn't have thought anything weird if this was all prearranged until that, oh, by the way, she didn't show up at the hospital. And you get a call from the hospital like, hey, your wife didn't show up for her shift. But is it true that before that people had tried to call her and it went to voicemail before she showed up at that shift? Is that true?
What? Say that last part. I had to deal with somebody's comment. The last part. I always have to deal with people ordering around. I want to see the kids too. I don't want. Who cares about the kids in the picture? It's her face over here, you guys. All right, so go ahead.
Yeah. So I may have lost my train of thought on that one, Gray, but
that's not her, you guys. That doesn't look like her whatsoever. This person right here is like totally Caucasian, or it's just not her. This person here is. Okay, look at the hair up there. It's exactly the same. That's her. You can see the ears are the same. See how they go? Forget it. Anyways, go.
So that was my question. Gray. Do you know, has there been any information that people were calling her cell phone prior to her showing up at work, so that there was already like an indication before she showed up?
Well, I'm sure they tried. I'm sure her coworkers tried. That's why they ended up calling the husband.
But that's after she didn't show up. I'm talking before. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any information about anything else.
Okay.
That happened. You know, like all we know is that her phone stopped communicating.
Well, one thing that would be, I would think, is that, so if the husband knew that the wife was like going to be absent, doing whatever until she went into work, so he didn't really need to be concerned about her missing until she didn't show up at work. Well, he still might have called her in between that time, and if he did, it would have went straight to voicemail. And that kind of would have been weird, because then you'd have been thinking like, well, why am I calling my wife and it's just going straight to voicemail? And then you really would have been freaked out when you got a call from the hospital that said, hey, your wife didn't show up here.
Yeah, or maybe she could have been at the casino and took a call and said, oh, yeah, I'm just having lunch over here. You know. I mean, it wasn't that late in the day. It was like 3:40. I don't know. I don't think there's anything in there, in that line there that you're going down. It's just sort of like, you know, who knows if she got calls, or, I mean, we aren't going to get to know that. The answer. Yeah. They have it. The only reason why it was relevant to me, and I'm only saying this, is because so that anybody who tried to call her is going to have a record on their phone when they made that call. And if it went straight to voicemail, you're not going to know exactly when she turned off her phone, you know, but you're going to get a better idea when it was, because if somebody's saying, hey, I called her and it went to voicemail, you already know that the phone was turned off by then. That's why I'm bringing that up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, man, it's getting late. 3 hours and 32 minutes. We can go on for hours.
I had a feeling, you know, but yeah, your analysis has been spot on, and I just I appreciate it, and I actually think, Gray, that if you were out there, that you could find this person. I think you could find this person. I think you would narrow it down quickly, and you'd say, okay, well, this is the most likely places that she's going to be, and then you would scour those places and you'd find her. I really think that that's the case. I think she's there. That's the part that's the heartbreaker for me, is that I think she's out there right now. I think she's there. She's waiting to be discovered by somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
She would be. I mean, I guess there's always a shot she's out there with some other guy or something, but the information doesn't seem like it. She seemed like, if you look at that picture of her on the 5th, she doesn't seem as happy and bubbly as the other ones, and just generally, I mean, she's out there having lunch with a friend, and she didn't really get dressed up at all. She's just kind of, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'd like to know how that lunch came about. You know, I have a feeling that she asked to meet up with the friend, I would think. You know, like almost. I'd
like to know the spending habits. I'd like to know the spending habits at the casino. That's what I would like to know, because if you think you're going to end your life, then you can be pretty freewheeling. You don't have to worry about anything, really. I mean, don't have to. So I would love to know what those spending habits were there, you know, because I'm betting that I bet there's some evidence there that would indicate that somebody was having the last hurrah or having some fun. You know, trying to go for broke maybe, and you know, and maybe even was telling herself that, hey, if I really win big, I'll turn this around. Mm-hmm. I'll go home. You know, and when it didn't go her way, she's like, I guess I'm not going home. You know, I don't know that is the case. You know, but I've never been a gambler, Gray. I've known people who like to and were good at it, and I never liked it. And but anyway, we'll close it out for tonight. But you did your analysis is just far superior to anyone else out there, and I'm just grateful to be able to tune in. Yeah, I even told my sister about it, and I'm like, you gotta watch this, and she's hooked. She's hooked now. I just want you to know. So.
Oh, come on. All right. Well, anyways.
You take care, Gray.
Well, thanks for calling in, man. Have a good one. See you.
All right.
Jason Bourne. The Jason Bourne. I mean, he's literally the guy that's on the shows. Yeah, I told you guys this was her earlier. I don't know how we somehow got confused in here, but you know, this is her, right? I mean, look at it. just look at the hair. See how it's thin right there, and then there's a part in the middle. The nose looks the same. And by the way, I mean, we're catching this one shot here. She may have laughed 10 times and looked like that. She also has glasses on in the picture. You know, this is like in this one, she probably has her hair in a ponytail and back, just like that one's up in a thing back. But her hair is long like that. But yeah, I think it looks very similar. She just doesn't look as good as these ones. She sort of looks like she's struggling somehow. You see that? Well, the whole thing, she looks the same, you know, like, I mean, we're not seeing the same angle as her head, but you can see the same under her eyes is the same. Look at like right over here and then right over there. Very similar. She got perfect teeth though. Look at that. I mean, those are like, that's something you would probably like, you could use those as a model. All right, you guys. Well, I think that's going to do it. You guys have any last thoughts in there? I do want to say, you know, thank you to everybody who did help support the channel. Not a lot of different people, but we had Timothy Cecil, Alley Cake, 6 Kids UK, Carolina T. Well, let me put them all up there. Timothy Cecil, Alley Cake, 6 Kids UK, Carolina T, Timothy Cecil, Alley Cake, Honey Bee Fly, Michelle H. Then we had Haley did a cat eye. Then we had Chris O'Connell with a avocado cat eye. And then she said, or well, first Haley said, for Gray's rough night. I was having a rough night. Then Chris O'Connell said, good evening, Gray. Fabulous work on this case. I loved your video yesterday. Awesome. And then we had South Texas guy gifted a membership. And then we had Chris O'Connell gifted 10 memberships. Then Karen 777, Alley Cake. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 5. Then we had 6 Kids UK. Then Zozo showed up with her, what is it? Let's see, 5 times 12, 60. So 6 years and 4 months. Thank you, Zozo. Then Dan, Karen, Timothy Cecil, Alley Cake. Then Phyllis Watson. Then we had Lori, who's ordering me around 2 months. All right, there you go. Cool. Anyways, what do you guys think? Don't you think, what do you guys think about this one? Here, I'll do a last minute poll here on here. Let's see what happens. And thanks for the Timothy and Jason for calling in. You know what's funny is I'll say stuff on the show and then Jason says the same thing and Timothy goes, I agree. You know, it's like, what do you mean, Timothy? We've been talking about the whole night. It's incredible. All right, so let me, where was the poll here? It was... see. Yeah, I don't think most people go on a hike before a night shift. Okay, that's another thing to consider. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Well, I got 4 votes. Met some guy. Those are people wanting it to be a different kind of story. You know, there's no evidence of that at all. No, there's nothing to do with pot. What is that? That's crazy, Lori. What the hell are you talking about? Jesus, I thought we had smarter people here. What? Whew. Yikes. Let's see. 420 stuff. Jesus. She's up there smoking dope. She went up there to sell drug? What the hell are you talking about? I know you're. Hopefully you're just joking around. All right. I mean, Haley laughed at it. She must have realized the dry humor quality. I couldn't tell. Sounds like something you would say. All right, let's see. We got 14 votes. Yeah, most people. There's 0 people accident on a normal hike. Yeah. So not one person voted for that one. We only got 14 votes, though. How about the rest of you put some votes in? Or all the rest of you trolls out there? And I'll tell you what would be great if we got we need more likes. We've only got 93 likes. Isn't that ridiculous on a show that was that good? Yeah, I think so, too. So go ahead and hit that like button for me right now. Hit that like button, 10, 20, 25, 30. Hit that like button, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. Hit that like button, 10, 20, 25, 40. 25, better done 30. You want to put 30, sir. 25 of them, you're out. I'm better done 25, better done 30, 30. Okay, but 420 means weed. Okay, I think it could be that she, she went up there. If she had drugs from work, she used them to take her own life. That's why she hid the fact that she was there. If she went up there to recreationally use drugs, that'd be ridiculous. She's got to work in a few hours. But she wouldn't need to hide the fact that she was up there. Yeah, so that just doesn't make any sense at all. Sorry. Come on, you guys, let's get to 100. Hit the like button. It's simple. You said 420 stuff. 420 means weed. Come on, Lori. Are you being goofy on purpose? Seriously? Oh, boy, I got to get out of here before I give a damn about what you're saying. It's ludicrous. All right, guys, thanks for being here. We will see you tomorrow. Who knows what tomorrow will bring, everybody? I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. It's okay, Lori. Don't worry about it. We'll just... It's Thanksgiving tonight, okay? Wow, thanks everybody. I'm leaving before I give a damn. Thank you, Phyllis Watson. Thank you for watching Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. where we cover true crime using logic, reason, and common sense. Yes, that elusive common sense that very few people have today. Thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Hey, you know what? Let's do a flyby really quick. What do you guys think of that? I was just thinking, wouldn't that be fun? I haven't done one of those in a while. Here, let's do one. Here, let's do it. Hey, I'm still back on. I'm still here. I'm still here. Where the hell is it? Right, the needles. Let's do the needles. There we go. That's a good place. Furious Freaks. Here we go.
All right, great. Thank you. Happy birthday, Lori! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to Lori! Happy birthday to you! Now shut the hell up and let me do the song here. Alright.
Hey, that was really mean of you, Mary Lou.
I'm sorry, just want to do it.
All right. Well, thanks, freaks, for hanging out there doing our little flyby. I'm not sure where Timothy Cecil went. He missed our flyby at the end. Let's see. All right. Well, thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. And who knows what tomorrow will bring. Hopefully there'll be more information in this case that we can plug into all of the information we already know. I think we covered it. I've seen other people, like little clips and so forth, and they've missed a lot of the stuff that's actually valuable and important. So at least we have all of the pertinent information that we know of out there currently. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys later. And until next time, be safe out there. We'll play it one more time, the ending.
The truth is, you're as dumb as they come.
She said to Brian Koberger.